be able to breathe, the oxygen must be free. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Liberty means life.
Our Constitution gives us way for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty is just not free will, it means free oxygen. Oxygen is highly reactive, it's always being captured by something else. It makes it unavailable for us to breathe. To free the oxygen in order to make it available for us to breathe. It's freedom that gives us life. If you call yourself a freedom fighter and you're truly committed to God, if you're a true conservative, core values of the American Constitution are life and liberty.
For you to be able to breathe, the oxygen must be free. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Liberty means life.
If you're committed to the values in the American Constitution, if you're a true conservative, this is your call to defend the freedom of oxygen. This is your call to defend American core values. This is your call to answer our founding fathers. It's also your call to commit yourself to your Lord. You're a true freedom fighter. You're born.
Social distancing
variety hour. Free your oxygen.
Free oxygen, you know, like Alexander Hamilton was against oxygen.
Yeah. And
That's
look,
why he had to
look what
die.
happened to him.
He's Adam.
He's Michael.
It's a social distancing variety hour. Thanks for being with us. It's super fantastic. Still coming off a high from last week's show.
Yeah,
that went over so well.
It was. It did. And hopefully all the L. Taylor fanboys and girls are still with us to, get serious and, absorb all the exciting municipal developments that we got in store over the next, weeks and months. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Get on to L. Taylor. I know I'm not supposed to ask you about L. Taylor, but get on to L.
Don't
Taylor.
ask me about L. Taylor.
Get on to L. Taylor and have L. Taylor get her cronies to keep watching the show because
they're only here to see her.
Yeah.
No one wants to see us. Not angry us. Like if we're interviewing chill people, then fun shows.
Right.
Like fucking Tapper.
I was gonna say Tapper will still watch the fun shows.
Yeah, and then he'll tune in at the end so that we'll say his name a bunch.
Right.
But
hi Tapper.
Hi Tapper. We'll never see that, but putting it out in the ether.
Yep.
I'm feeling it, man. Like energy shift. We had those 2 really great days this week up here in the 814.
Yeah.
That kind of gave a little solvency to my situation because it's one thing to be living through a pandemic. It's another thing to just be watching the oligarchy tear this country down asunder.
Yeah.
It's another thing to just know that no one's coming to help you for anything else and that it's a cold, dark winter. But 2 70-degree days in a row and a bunch of sunshine.
Yeah.
Like
it's one thing to be living through a pandemic. It's another thing to be living through a pandemic with a vitamin D deficiency.
Oh man, that's all forgiven now.
Yep.
I'm back on board. I went to Home Depot today and then went to Applebee's for dinner and then went through Axes afterwards. So, I made my rounds. The economy's open. Let's just fucking go. I saw so many people in line at a Dairy Queen drive-through tonight.
Oh, the 38th and Cherry one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just consistently packed. But tonight especially, just people out of the parking lot and down the street kind of line.
Yeah.
And I jokingly thought, I bet 60% of those people haven't voted. And yet they'll wait in line for like a shit chicken finger basket and a McFlurry.
Yeah.
What's the Dairy Queen call the McFlurry?
What's the Dairy Queen
Blizzard?
called? Yeah.
What was the original thing that everyone else stole and now you can't remember? That's whatever. Kleenex and Xerox.
What are the other GoBots called?
Yeah. Yeah, the McFlurry, the GoBot of the Blizzard. Yeah, man. But I was just thinking about like people will fucking wait in line for subpar food.
Yeah.
and not, not pick up the phone to call a Congress member, not think about their fellow human being by putting their mask on correctly and having a jovial attitude while, participating in the downfall that is capitalism. I mean, like, if you're going to just sit idly by and watch your self-destruction, then at least eat better than Dairy Queen.
Yeah. I mean,
if you learn nothing else,
there's plenty of like solid ice cream options in this town. None of them are worth waiting in that kind of line for, but that one is definitely not worth waiting in that kind of line for.
No, I mean, because it's not even summer, know? Like,
no,
it's not even...
I don't like... I have a weird hang-up about waiting in line for food. Like, this is not Soviet Russia. We don't have bread lines. We don't have bread lines for our ice cream.
I got two. Like, I don't wait in line for the bathroom. I'll just shit my pants rather than have to stand in line or something.
And that's America.
America. But see, what's been like should become more and more apparent to everyone every day, and especially as we all start getting vaccinated and coming out of this, and the world sort of returns us to like the grind on a whole other level.
Yeah.
But how much all of this shit that people say about like, well, look at what's going on in Venezuela and you want bread lines like in Russia. And it's like, that shit's happening.
Yeah.
There's hours long lines to get food in Texas and California. It's happening everywhere. Hours long lines to vote. And, in a country that likes to export democracy, but mostly through CIA coup. And only so that it helps out Chiquita Banana. Why do I keep finding all those Costa Rican stamps in my pussy?
Jasmine Flores says Denny's ice cream stand is worth the wait if I'm doing laundry. Yeah. Denny's. Sure. Denny's,
Okay, so there's a local business.
Yep.
That still has quality control. Like you can hire people to work there that you can, at least approach them differently. And
that offers you an experience.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, it offers you an experience. But it offers you an actual Erie experience. It's not like you're going to, the Applebee's of ice cream shops that you could be going to in any town in any country in the world and get the same peanut butter parfait. You're not going to go to Denny's and, hang out with the residents of Lower Parade Street and get your ice cream. That's not Parade Street. No, that is Parade. I was like, I talked myself out of Parade and into East Ave, but no, that is Parade.
No, it's Parade.
But yeah, you're not gonna have the waiting in line at Denny's with the residents of Lower Parade Street and getting your Blue Moon or whatever you're into, anywhere else. So like, if you're gonna, why not have a real experience? Like go somewhere where real people are. And
that's like people that go to France and eat at McDonald's. Like, you fucking idiots. But
like,
that's Americans for you.
Let's see how they do it. Let's see what the Big Macs are like over here.
I just want to order a Royale with cheese.
Yeah, I've wanted
that'll
to do
be
that.
Cheeky fun.
I've wanted to do that ever since Pulp Fiction.
Yes, sir, Miss Burdick. Dairy Queen does give you a piece of bread as a side. Oh, here's your French fries and your chicken and
your bread.
Piece of bread.
So it is a bread line.
It is literally waiting in a bread line. 2021, the United States of America, Erie Pa.
Yeah.
Man.
Jonathan Burdick, get at us, by the way. We should have you on the show sometime. You got interesting things to say about interesting things in the world. I'd
like to talk about the sides you can get at chain restaurants.
Yeah, let's do a deep historical dive on the sides that are available at national chain restaurants. That'll be the kind of content that the L. Taylor fanboys show up for.
Is this really spinach artichoke dip? Is it
really?
Oh man. How have you been doing? Did you get out with the kiddos when it was nice out? A
little bit. Yeah. We got out and walked around the neighborhood a little bit, and then the sun was nice, but the wind was cold, and not everybody lasted real long. But we got the sun on our faces and stretched our legs a little bit, and it did us all some good, I think. Yeah, I mean, it feels
Yep.
like spring is maybe actually
Spawn!
really coming. No, I was not gonna say that. Um, yeah,
Ah,
spring is one of those things that living in Erie, it's like, I'll believe it when I see it.
yeah,
Like,
I
yeah,
mean, we
it's
could have
March.
that like
It's March.
that.
March means nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
that April 17th snowstorm that buries us for 3 weeks. Yeah.
right. And
Mhm.
I'm still reserving judgment whether or not we'll get that. But um, yeah, I mean, it feels like we've at least seasonally turned a corner, if not turned any other corner. But I don't know, maybe those other corners are coming too if people do the things that it's beyond reasonable expectation that they'll start doing at this point. But here we
Yeah,
are.
we do what we do. It does make this city a hell of a lot more tolerable though when the sun is out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Do you get angry about anything this week? I got angry about a bunch of stuff, but I'm deferring.
You're not trying to do Angry Michael this week.
Oh no, our show is geared for Angry Michael, so I'm trying to keep my powder dry. Like, why blow up in your face
Yeah.
when I could maim other strangers? Come on.
I'll just point you away from my face and let you do your thing.
Point away from target.
Yeah. Do not point directly at.
Oh,
No,
man.
I mean there's the baseline angry that's has been with us in earnest for a year, but really been with us longer than that. But I mean, there was nothing.
I mean, like wow, we could just tie this all in. Everything's just going to fall together for us like it always does.
Yeah.
But as I'm watching you, like, so if you're watching at home and you're like, why doesn't Michael stare at the light on his computer so that it looks like he's looking at us? Like, number one, I don't fucking care. I don't need to look at you. Number two, I'd much prefer to look at Adam because he's speaking. And as a polite human being, I feel like I am, continuing this sort of like distanced yet nuanced connection that we have where I'm paying attention to you, man. Even if on their screens, you're not where you are on my screen.
Yeah.
Don't matter. But there's a Black Lives Matter flag behind you that's been flying, not just on the show, but in front of your house and other various locations and you're part of it. But was it yesterday was a year since Breonna Taylor was murdered. The Derek Chauvin trial is they're doing jury selection for the murder of George Floyd right now. And it is like the voir dire that's going on, like for jury selection, you get a big pool of people and they all show up and they're angry that they have to be there because rather than being a civic duty and something that you should be like, I am coming to partake with justice. Right. It's become an inconvenience. And so you're already just in this bad place. And it's like,
but they'll pay you $7.
$7. Minimum jury wage.
Yeah. Or whatever it is.
Yeah. And, but the questionnaires put together by the defense team mostly is beyond racist, as is, it's America. So it kind of goes without saying that everything is racist, but completely geared toward boys in blue and who, by the way, all bastards.
Yep. Still suck.
Still. But it just absolutely ridiculous. Like someone's sister was at a protest, so therefore they were not eligible to be in the to be selected for the jury pool. Yet someone else is directly related to a law enforcement officer, and that didn't cause any red flags, of course. So it's these things that are going on that we, like Black Lives Matter was completely co-opted by liberals and then it just gets watered down like everything else and then pushed to the side. And then they talk about money issues and they talk about all these things to denigrate from the pure purpose of it. You're not seeing coverage of anything on the news about it. I mean, there's shit going on. It's still in Portland, and they were kettling protesters. And I read something that, and we've talked about it before, but even when you hear something again, and it's just, but isn't it funny how the cops seem to show up right when the violence starts?
That's
like it's just
kind of uncanny.
that
they have this
sixth
sense about there's about to be some violence. I better get there so I don't miss it.
Right. Oh, but I mean, and they're going to use everything to rewrite the laws. I mean, in England right now, they're trying to make it incredibly easy for police to get away with anything. In Kentucky, one of the two. But they're trying to pass a state law where it's illegal to insult an officer of the law. And
is it illegal in Kentucky or Tennessee if we do it from here?
I don't know.
Like,
do you think there's extradition laws between?
Yeah, can we get extradited to Kentucky and or Tennessee to Tennessee for saying that I don't know. Pick a city. Oh well, I mean Louisville. Louisville police definitely sucks.
Definitely sucks,
and they smell funny.
Bunch of fatty McFattersons.
Who can we pick in Tennessee?
Oh, take your pick in Tennessee.
You want to do Memphis or you want to do Nashville?
Ooh, I was walking in Memphis.
Yeah, with your street feet off a Beale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but do you really feel the way you feel?
Oh man, I was trying to think of the Jesus line.
Yeah.
I was just and it just missed it. You were on it.
All the kids are here for the Mark Cohn jokes.
Oh man. Yeah, Memphis cops suck. Nashville cops suck.
Yeah, and they all smell funny.
They absolutely. And their sisters are ugly.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, it's these little things. Like in front of 48 states, they are trying to suppress voting, to take away weekend voting, take away early voting, take away no reason mail-in ballots. Like just they know obviously that making voting easier tends to not work out for these like conservative fucking lunacy things. But I don't know. I feel like at this point the right side of the vector is completely just going to play culture war.
Yeah,
I
think that's fair.
What is the established left of the Democrats is really a center right coalition who's just trying to keep things at exactly status quo, where it's just like, fuck the poor. Like, we're just going to keep doing what we do. Like, here's thousands more kids in cages. We're not raising the minimum wage. We're not forgiving your student debt. Like, you're just going to be a wage slave and work for us to ensure that, anyone from Congress making $80+ an hour doesn't have to consider what it would be like to live on a minimum wage. And then there's, a progressive left that is so fractured, and it takes longer to explain just the idea of what progressive left is than it does to say death tax or some, bullshit thing that is just going to keep our, everyone in their correct place. The Buffalo stance.
And then a cherry joke and a Mark Cohn joke in the first reel. We're really reeling the youths in tonight, Michael.
I
should go find the Buffalo stance video again so we can get taken down by Nana Cherry. What you drinking tonight?
So I lost track of time today.
Yeah.
So
me too.
I didn't procure something that when I had the chance, and then the other bottle I had was the same hooker crook that I drank last week, and I was like, that'll never do.
No.
So I stopped by one of our local shopping establishments and grabbed this La Bardada, and it was super interesting.
It's got
And,
it's
you know,
got bars.
Spanish-
It's got bars on it.
Yeah, it's Spanish red and bars, 15%. And so I was looking at it, and I was just, you know, going through, and then I was like, oh, Tinta de Toro. That sounds like a super interesting grape. And so I Googled it up because we have magic computers in our pockets.
Right.
And I was like, fascinating. Oh, it's, you know, it's been being cultivated since 2nd century with Roman empires and things. And, you know, and just like it grows in the Zamora region of Spain. And I was like, woo, this is fantastic. It's like, oh, and it's another name for Tempranillo. And I was like, oh, well, this is just a fucking rebranding of just like.
It's a fancy Dr. Tempranillo.
Yeah, Dr. Tempranillo, which be on the lookout for my Spanish soap, Le Hopital. And
that means the Hopital.
Yeah, I play orderly at a hospital that speaks no Spanish, and then I moonlight as Dr. Tempranillo.
Are they all really racist towards you because you don't speak any Spanish?
Absolutely. Well, I can't tell.
Yeah.
I mean, they point and laugh, but I don't know. You know, I'm assuming not because I'm a white guy, so
Right.
racism doesn't affect me.
Right.
So if they, you know, is Renovere taking care of the kiddos?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah,
Because you know, Adam's lovely partner, the beautiful side of their little connection, had a brilliant idea. So I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, the idea was that we need more recurring bits on this show, which is absolutely true. And B, that one of those recurring bits should be the time on the show when Michael and I check our privilege. So, in the absence of Ren to make us check our privilege, we'll do it anyway. You know, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what are you drinking first?
Oh, I am.
Let's talk about the important shit before we start.
Before we get real, I am drinking Founders Centennial IPA, which I'm getting a weird
there's
shine on my can. Well, I got a light over here.
Yeah, your Halo light for when we shoot our OnlyFans.
Yeah. Speaking of OnlyFans, down in that corner, that corner of your screen, down below, Michael. Link to our Patreon, patreon.com/SDVH. Lots of cool stuff available. Help support the show. Help support our beverage habits. Help support us putting on more shows like this one, which we'll talk about this one in a minute, where we get more guests on than we can do for free. So, you know, we're doing extra fancy streaming and all of that stuff to bring you more guests at once, and all of that costs us a few bucks. So if you want to throw us a few bucks, that's definitely much appreciated. Thank you notes from us, cool stickers from us, shirts from the Made by Maris collection, merch table grab bag, all available at different price points on the Patreon. So check out the Patreon. It's down there, patreon.com/SDVH. Audio podcast version of the show, which if you're watching right now, you probably don't want to listen to it again, but
you might.
But you might. And for, you know, if you're not able to be with us on Sunday night, or you're not able to stare at a screen, but you want to listen to our voices as you drive around the Great Commonwealth and do whatever you're doing, that's available.
Just circling the pond with the little man in the boat. And you just got to hear our voices.
Yeah. But that's available even from the lowest level. So $2 a month, you can get the audio podcast and a nice little note from us, like our moms taught us. Hi, Nancy.
Just blanked on your mom's name. I Mrs. Holquist.
Kathy.
There we go.
Yep.
Now I'll never forget because I made a mistake. And it's like, no, honestly, like, here, let's get real. It's like childhood trauma.
Yeah.
That like being wrong was verboten, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Mhm.
So like, and just because I don't know, I'm perhaps overly psychologically abused as a child.
Yeah.
But
Does it?
I mean, does it not? You know, but
Well, how much does it have to do with Catholic school, Michael?
no,
No?
nothing to do with
No?
school. No, in fact, I went to I went to public grade school and middle school. I didn't go to Catholic school until high school. Although I
okay.
did go to catechism classes, which freaked the fuck out because it was like this Catholic school smells like completely different than a public school and not in any good way. But yeah, so like when I'm wrong, like things at school or just in life in general, you know, and like even to this day when I'm wrong, like I can never forget it because it's associated with like, you can't be wrong. So I've got to just,
Shame.
you know, there's things that I'll, yes. Like Damo's a dude.
Oh, Daniel Suzuki? Yeah, definitely
A dude.
elderly Japanese dude. I mean, he was not elderly at the time, but I mean,
At the time, but
now.
was not a woman that they found on the streets of Berlin.
No, was a dude that they found on the street. A Japanese dude that they found on the streets of Berlin.
Dude, yeah. So I'll never, you know, I'll never forget that. So Kathy, apologies. I'll never forget.
They love you though. They're like, oh, Michael's great.
My mom got around to watching last week's show.
Oh,
and she was just like, oh, it's like, I'm a big fan of whatever L. Taylor song For You or something.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then she's
That's a
like,
nice tune.
and she's like, in proto, she's like, oh, I'm glad he's got your back in the hood. And she's like, I wish you would change your vocabulary and stop saying fucking. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, come on, like, what do you know?
Well,
2021, boomer.
If you go to our Patreon, which you all should, but in our description of like who we are and what we do, it's like this and this and this, and Michael's mom thinks we say fuck too much.
Mm-hmm.
Friend of the show, Jay Brenneman says nice shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jay Brenneman, who was a longtime friend of the program, was on the show a couple weeks ago, which if you didn't see that one, then you should.
And judging by the views on YouTube, you haven't.
Some of you did, and thank you for that. But yeah, we got into it with our friend of the show, Jay Brenneman, about... You can
A.F.
see
Young.
it on Michael. And Mr. A.F. Young, Arthur F. Young, the socialist mayor of Union City, Pennsylvania, just after the turn of the 20th century. And for those of you watching who are maybe not from our beautiful tri-state area, I think every part of the country has their town or their neighboring state or whatever that they make their cousin marrying jokes about. Ours is Union City.
Union City.
And Union City.
Their family tree is just a trunk.
Yep, that's one of them. But yeah, Union City, apparently, we learned a couple of weeks ago from friend of the program, Jay Brenneman, had a socialist mayor just after the turn of the 20th century, Mr. A.F. Young. And he's our new mascot. So
yeah, he's our new mascot.
Yep.
Because, you know, I truly do not see any other way forward than a socialist system. Anything that's going to, you know, do anything with universal healthcare, universal basic income. I mean, automation is just going to take over, and you know, fuck bread lines. We're just gonna, you know, forget a pandemic. Like, we're already numb to it. You know, 540,000 dead Americans, and we're just, you know, there's nothing about it. And so we're already numb to that shit. So we need lots of change. Oh, we got to check privilege because we introduced that. And then,
and then we didn't do it.
And then we did everything else.
Yeah.
See, we're avoiding the issue because that's part of our privilege.
It is.
Is that as cis white males, we can broach a topic, seem real serious and concerned about it, and then just brush it off and talk about shit.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, those guys are really serious. They really bring up the important topics, and then don't talk about them."
It's just a soundbite. That's all we need. You can buy these socialist T-shirts in the Made by Mayors collection off of the Instagram
Yeah.
too, and all of the show shirts are available.
Yeah.
So check out the SDVH with the underscores.
Yeah, S_D_V_H_ because SDVH was taken. Yeah, so that on Instagram, that on Twitter. Is there a third thing?
No. OnlyFans.
No, OnlyFans. Our shirts match, by the way. Like we're lit so differently. Like
we
you
are
got
lit
all this,
completely differly. They are the same.
You got all this like
color.
beautiful natural lighting in the undisclosed location, and I'm down here with like my compact fluorescence, and like this is where I live, and this is why I'm a very, very pasty man who doesn't get enough sunshine. But yeah.
Yep. So when the lovely Ren brought up this idea, because I'm going to bring it all back around, like I thought it's brilliant because I don't know that it's a concerted effort, but we do make an effort to have representative guests.
Yeah.
So that it's not just old white dudes sitting around yelling angry shit, because why? Like there's already a bunch of that going on. But Ren really had a wonderful idea because there's a lot of it and there's a lot of things going on. And so I was thinking about it. And I mean, I could sit here for hours probably and just name off things, because in the last year I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of different things that have been brought to my attention in a more full scope. But I've been driving around with an uninspected car. Like I took it out. I couldn't get a hold of my mechanic, and he's my boy.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go to someone else when I can, get someone that I know is going to do work for me and then not like gouge me for it.
Right.
But I mean, so I was thinking about it, and I took my car out tonight to drop it off, and just thinking like, if I got pulled over right now because I didn't have up-to-date tags, and they're not that bad, it's not like I was outside of any kind of buffer or anything. I'm not a criminal, but not
a bad criminal, just a normal criminal.
Just a normal criminal, a smooth criminal. But it's like I have that ability to do that, to be, an older presenting white male that can
older presenting
like that. And I can just I can drive with expired tags and not worry about it, and at worst I get pulled over and I'm like, yeah, I've got to get into, my guy. Oh, slip my mind.
Yeah.
But other people could be shot for that shit.
Oh, sure.
And it's just like a legit kind of thing where it's like, fuck, like, how do you reconcile that with your own humanity?
Yeah.
I ask you, Adam, to answer for all pasty white dudes.
Oh, for all pasty white dudes? I don't know. I guess you try and do a show like this and try and talk to interesting people, which, I mean, it's privileged to be able to do a show like this too. Like,
yeah, I was thinking about that too.
I got a job that I know I'm never going to have to work a Sunday night. And like, I've got a job that means I don't have to take a second job where I might have to work a Sunday night. And I've got like a house to live in where my internet works. And, I can drill a hole through my floor and run a cable down here. And I've, got a bunch of gear and stuff that we can be like, yeah, let's do a show. There's a show. Looks good.
Yeah. And even deeper than that, like our upbringings and our educations that allowed us to do this, this isn't like some let's sit down and fuck around kind of thing. Like I've gotten paid more money to be a journalist than any other job I've ever had, like I've made more money in my life writing articles than anything else I've done, aside from whoring and gambling, like legit stuff. And, so like, but it's those opportunities that allow us to do this, because if it was just us fucking around, then it wouldn't matter. And we wouldn't pull the guests that we do. Right. But since we're, like educated human beings that have some kind of, train, like this isn't the first time you sat in front of a computer.
Right.
I think everyone can tell.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of...
and obviously, like, I just, I have a penchant for asking questions of people, even when they don't want to speak. So, like, but that was absolutely part of the privilege of our existence, that we're able to, go to school and learn about these things, and have access to them, that,
Yeah, I mean, I've had a computer since I was 8 years old. And like as a person our age, that's not necessarily, like, we're not of the current digital native generation that are like, oh yeah, everybody's had a computer since they were 8 years old. No, everybody our age did not have a computer since they were 8 years old. But I mean, I'm who I am, as you might have noticed, and it probably comes as no surprise that I've had a computer since I was 8 years old. But I have, and like it's and that's part of what's got me where I am.
Yeah. Everything. Hi, Ren.
We weren't sure if you were going to make it, so we started without you.
Well, we didn't talk about a time or anything.
No.
Just like sex.
I just fell down the entire fucking flight of stairs because I stepped on Batman on the top step.
But we got a show tonight.
I'll just go back to watching South Park.
We got some cool guests. We got interesting stuff to get into with them. Our friend JASMINE Flores, our friend ELSPETH Koehle, our friend KENDRICK Tate, all of whom are running for city council, are going to be with us, and we'll get them in a quick minute. Got a little film. Let's get into a quick film. Let's get them in here.
Socialist Variety Hour. What's this called?
I don't know. Social distancing
Social distancing
variety hour. Welcome,
Take
guests.
2. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you. All
Likewise.
right, Kendrick, Jasmine, ELSPETH. Welcome to Social Distancing Variety Hour. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like I've got unresolved, unchecked privileges that have just been revoked. Anyway, so everyone with us tonight, since we've been having fun shows, everyone with us today is here for a serious show because like there are serious things at stake, and especially around these parts. So, but before I start yelling at them, let's go around and get to know a little bit so you can try to have empathy for them until I expose them as fraudulent. Jasmine, you're our returning champion. So for the people that don't know, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jasmine Flores. I ran for city council back in 2019. In the primary, I was 187 votes short of moving forward to the general. I had decided to run for city council as a result of Erie County United continually trying to get the city council representatives to work with us before they passed LRTA to get CBAs, which are community benefit agreements, which would pretty much make it to where if you're going to be having tax exempt status, or if you're going to be getting something from the city to develop here for 10 years and not help contribute, then you're going to be doing something for the community, whether that be family sustainable jobs, hiring the community who lives in the city as a priority, or just making sure that we're bringing equitable development that's going to be sustainable in 10 years. So we continue to have study sessions and they didn't want to work with us. So it pretty much showed me that, well, the players at the table don't care about the issues that we care about because they're not going to be here long term in 10 to 20 years to see the results of the instant gratification development that they're doing now. So that gave me a little bit of a fire to want to be out there and do more, to run and represent for the community that lives in the areas that are being gentrified. I grew up on 5th and Wallace at 429 East 5th Street, and the house that I grew up in that my grandma owned is no longer there. Area insurance knocked it down. It was a sustainable house. Another family could have definitely lived there if it was an option, if the developers for Area insurance didn't just come knocking and give a price to a grieving widow. So for me, the issues that Erie County United and the slate of Erie Can't Wait candidates are fighting for with this 2021 local election. We're fighting for protection for renters, equitable development, family sustainable jobs. I feel like this is issues that affect our community as a whole, and we can literally get the people who don't participate, who don't have hope, to hopefully listen for a little bit to get these things done. Because we're at a point where in 10 years, the citizens of Erie are not going to be able to afford to live here. And that's a scary thing to really think about when we have all this development that's going on, especially with all this tax money and grant money and, COVID money that's going to be hitting the city of Erie. We need to make sure that we're having conversations that are going to benefit the actual community of Erie, because the predominant population is people of color. And we have seen that the leaders in charge don't care about low-income people of color. But now it's just showing that they don't care about low-income people as a whole. Doesn't matter what color you are. If you're poor, they just don't care. So that's why I decided to run again. And I'm happy that other members of Erie County United have decided to run as well, because selectively united, will have enough support within each other to get things done. Because if there's something that I always know from the last 4 years of hearing Mel Witherspoon, is you can't get anything passed without 4 votes. So let's make sure we have a solid front and get those 4 votes to get the things that we need for our community.
Number one, stop listening to Mel Witherspoon. Number two, when you go to Denny's, what do you order? Like, what's your favorite ice cream, Jasmine? Because I'm trying to expose you as not just a policy wonk.
I personally don't eat at Denny's. I wait and eat at Denny's ice cream stand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat. I mean,
No,
Denny's
that's
ice
what-
cream
that's what we
stand. I
mean.
eat Blue Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't eat at Dairy Queen. Sorry, I got confused between
Oh,
the
yeah.
two. But yeah, I normally eat the Blue Moon with the Crush coat. Or I'll just get a milkshake. Lately, I haven't really been in the mood for ice cream, but it's because it's been upsetting my stomach, so I might have like a sensitivity that I just don't want to acknowledge.
I don't know.
So-
You could really lock down that lactose intolerant vote.
It's a powerful block.
But I definitely enjoy their sherbet. They have this green apple sherbet that they have on Mystery Tuesdays, which it changes every week. It's a different flavor of sherbet. And sometimes they have a green apple, and it is so refreshing. A hot summer Erie day. So you see it up there on a Tuesday afternoon, Mystery Tuesday. I definitely recommend the green apple for Denny's ice cream stand on Parade.
Cool. Kendrick Tate, man, like you could just get all the Tates to vote for you and you'd be pretty good.
I always tell my family, I tell everybody around, like, they'll ask me who I'm related to, and I'm like, I don't know, but I'll probably meet him next year at the family reunion.
Yeah.
No,
For
I'm
sure.
literally meeting new family every single year. It's crazy.
Yeah. So like tell us a little bit about your background, because I mean obviously, you know, it's Erie. So and you're relatively young. So, you like the pressure and the stink of Erie is still kind of, heavy but fresh. So
Yeah,
what's driving you to where you want to go?
No, like I'm really, really like dedicated to having young people be like attentive and involved in politics, because for any place that wants to grow its population, it's not going to be the 40 and 50-year-olds who decide on like just settling in Erie. It's the young people who are going out of the city to college in different places, and who are trying to establish themselves. And Erie has to be a destination for young people to want to come back to after they complete their studies or whatever. It can't just be a focus on building this one part of the city, or rehabbing this one area so that people like have this like go to. It's my focus completely is on like having the like forward thinking motives of like attracting our young people to our city and having them want to grow and establish a family and see that this city actually cares about them and their growth and their family's development here. And I mean, I personally, I went to school down in Penn State, Maine. I came back here after 3 years, and um, I really just wanted to get a sense of like how is it to actually like try to build a career, like a sustainable job, sustainable life here. And like I realized this, like people see me as a young person as just like naive or unexperienced or just completely distant from their ideals. And there is no way that I can just like kind of sit back and accept that, because that's not who I am. Like I'm someone who like I have ideas, like I'm thinking about how this city will work better and how it can cater to the people who need it. And for all of the jobs that I've been in where I've been kind of passed up for um, promotions, managerial positions, um, for older folks who just happen to have more responsibilities. Like it's unfair. It's unfair for young people to have that kind of stereotype laid upon them. And
Yeah.
Well, that's
mean,
not unique to Erie, though. I mean, I think
oh
that's
no.
Well, sure, it's not, but it's prevalent here, and I think there's a huge divide in the number of old people, and a huge divide depending on what section of the city they're in, because watching a white suburbanite who made it through college on $6 an hour,
right,
and got their house for 15 and now it's 150, like that shit, they cannot recognize what it takes right now, whether they're in Erie or anywhere else. But a family of color has just been ground down and probably moved around town over and over again. And how can you look at that and want to stay here,
Right.
over and over? And I agree, the brain drain is a bad thing, and especially in Erie, and especially a retention thing for all the schools that we have here, and that, where are those students going after they, but at the same time, there's a population that's here that is unattended to over and over again. And before we get deeper, we saved her for last because she's a white woman and she will be oppressed no matter what. But ELSPETH, what is it that's moving you from behind the scenes to now, put your name on a ballot?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, the Barzinski stuff got me pretty frustrated and fired up.
For people that don't know, go ahead and give us a little taste.
Well, Ed Barzinski is a relatively new city council member. And, there's been a lot of talk about him with his tendency toward isms. But the thing that really set me off is when he was insulting Liz, calling her a nut and a broad, in front of everyone who was paying any attention. And then his non-apology, and then the mayor's reaction to his non-apology. He thanked Ed Betza for apologizing to Liz. Ed Betza's the city solicitor. He's not Ed Barzinski, right? So the whole just disrespect and the just dismissiveness of the men on city council. No one, that's what bugged me too, is that no one in the moment stood up for Liz and was like, hey bro, maybe you shouldn't talk to your colleague like that. We're in a professional setting, etc. So that's one of the things. Obviously, we looked long and hard, Marty and I and other people on staff trying to get like Devonna to run again, looking for people to run. And no one wanted to do it. Everyone's gotten busy. Like she got a bunch more jobs, piled on her plate. So I was like, well, screw it then. I'll throw my hat in the ring myself,
Is there, is it better to run a slate? Is it better to run as a team? Because when we did the elections last cycle, and no one on the Democratic side was helping each other. There was no communication between any of the candidates at any level. There was no vision that they were all presenting and then talking about how their particular, status could make that happen. But then again, they were just a face and they were there and it was one thing, one entity, and they all got slaughtered. But what about running a slate, and especially for something like city council, and especially when that flips everything, then my dream of 2 years from now, not driving down the street and seeing somebody's fucking review of Oliver's. Oh, what a view. This is just what Erie needed. And it's like the last fucking thing this town needed was a shitty hotel with a shitty restaurant that'll be something else in 2 years. Get the fuck out of here anyway.
Well, the benefit of running a slate, like Jasmine was saying earlier, is hopefully Liz gets reelected. And even if two of us get elected along with her, there's more of a chance to get things done than there would be without 2 or 3 of us on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a complete policy slate, or is it just a we'll get things done slate?
No, we have a platform. We have our candidate pledge, and the platform is pretty much the same as it was when Jasmine ran last time. But it's anti-racism. It's bringing family-sustaining jobs to the city, making sure that those those hires or targeted hires. It's the same, pretty much the same thing. And then we have our school board slate, which kind of ties into that platform because obviously the education system, especially in Erie, there's a lot of change that needs to be happened, whether it's from funding or because the kids are seeing teachers that don't look like them or administrators that don't look like them. So there's a lot riding on all this. So we're, super hopeful that we can get this done.
What's first? Are you guys gonna burn down an Applebee's and then talk about it on the news? What's where's the fireworks to say get in line?
Well, right now with the pandemic, we have to be very aware that the community is nervous for people to just show up on their doorstep with the regular local election approach. So we have to be mindful of how we're trying to approach and do things. That's why we did the public petition drives to gather signatures for people who wanted to come out and support, and it was successful. So our goal is going to be public outside events. I know that we have opportunity to do some voter registration efforts. We have up until May 3rd to get people registered to vote in the May 18th primary. So right now we're literally just waiting until Wednesday, the 17th of March to find out where our ballot placement is going to be, which happens at noon in the clerk's office, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Which is something that I learned from you today. This was all, I assumed that there was some sort of hierarchy or it was alphabetical, but there's for those
literally
who
like
are
drawing straws.
Yeah, so literally it's drawing straws for.
But at noon on a Wednesday in an office, that's
a courtroom, but yeah,
a courtroom.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, but that screams democracy.
And with everything with the pandemic, we don't even know really how they're going to go about it. We're not quite sure. I'm going to call tomorrow so I can find out myself because I try to just do things week by week so not to overwhelm anybody. So I'm not sure if they're going to have it open to the candidates or if they're going to they should live stream it. That would be the most modern day thing to do. But then we're speaking to people who are 50, 60 plus years old and they don't want to do more work. And that's what is the problem. If it's extra work, they don't want to do it. So
City Hall was running on carbon copy until 2012. Holy shit, there were women that worked there that would never lose their job but didn't know how to use a computer, so everything had to be on carbon copy, and then they had to hire some outside firm for data entry and shit. This town is ass backwards. Everything is. Yes.
Once we know our ballot placement, we'll be able to start ordering signs and material to give to community members who want to have help with our visibility, because that's going to help right now with the pandemic. It is going to pretty much be who can be the most visible. So that's why a lot of us are taking small donations from community members so that we can buy as much stuff as possible. I know masks are in the works. I'm getting donations for masks. We want to have yard signs and apartment window signs. And then we were also thinking of magnets for cars for people who are driving around a lot. So it's we have lots of ideas for the visibility because we have until May 18th to make sure that people know who we are from the other candidates, because there's 4 seats available. And if Liz can get hers back and we can get on as the slate, we'll have 4 people who can investigate and research and be more supportive and held accountable towards one another to be able to get the things that our community members need, because you need 4 votes. You need to be able to have support. You need to be able to do things. And it's if we bring a specific thing, I think after the pandemic, protection for renters is a key thing. We need safe, healthy, affordable housing in our community. And we need somewhere where our community can go to report slumlords. We need somewhere where they can feel protected if they see something going on. And if we don't have 4 votes to get that policy on the record, nothing is going to happen. If we don't have any policy, nothing matters. So it's we need the 4 votes to get the policies. So that's why we're trying to do this as a collective, united front, because it is a pandemic. We have to be thoughtful on how we're approaching our community after this last year of trauma.
Definitely. Little catch up from our distinguished audience members. Jay Brenneman, this is coffee can in Philly, ping pong balls from a bowl in Erie when choosing candidates. And Dr. Titus, the drawing will be for people who work for, or I'm sorry, open to candidates or their representative. So,
Yeah, and
you go.
Tyler, I don't know, is it open to the public at all? I don't know if you know that or don't know that. If you do, drop it in the comments. I got Jasmine checking on it for me. I got friend of the program, Jay Brenneman, checking on it for me. But if it is, we want to try and be there and make fun of it for the show. So because why is this the way we're doing things in 2021?
But Jasmine, a point you bring up, like to research and let us know who the slumlords are. Like, that's the thing about Erie is everybody knows,
Right?
Everybody knows, and that's the other side of it, though, and that's why I'm cynical just by nature, but of politics at all at this point, because we have known all of these issues, all of these problems, all of the specific actors, especially in our little hamlet, that have been doing this shit, and no one's done anything about it. And I don't know even if 4 votes is going to get you to take care of any of that.
What we need is people to run for district magistrate seats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Progressives, I mean.
Sure. And until the great boomer die off, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But
well, the main I mean, you guys all live in different parts of the town, city and the county, but our district magistrate, at least where I live and where Michael lives, but resides where he stays at, is his main qualification seems to be that he's a dude from the neighborhood, and he is more of a dude from the neighborhood than I will ever be. So I can't beat him on that. And until that stops being the thing that we care about, as far as how we choose our district magistrates, like, I didn't grow up on the Lower West Side like Tom Carney did, and I can't change that. I also never pulled a gun on a kid, but that's a whole other story.
You should try it. It's great. It's free.
But it doesn't matter. Like,
Man, the fear in their little eyes, that just sets you off.
Oh my
But he's a dude from the neighborhood, so it doesn't matter. It's it's a good old Tom who I went to Our Lady of such and such with, and so it doesn't matter. And
all right, well, okay, so here's the thing, like, Kendrick, you're not dude from the block, like, you're running for city council, but you're young and you think different. So how do you throw yourself out there? Like, what, I mean, we just watched 4 years of masterful manipulation of social media in, to get for nefarious gains. Like, how do you synthesize that and make it beneficial and, don't ruin yourself because you go overboard?
Yeah, I mean, the problem I see is that people really see social media as like this obstacle, this like hidden, like this hidden sword, this needle in the haystack, and they don't really understand the use, the power that it has, unless if they're like complaining on it or like harassing their local representatives or freaking meaning. But like that is 100% like the main defense that even people like us can use to really dig deep and reach out to our community in ways that like the established older generation who doesn't understand it just can't do. They don't really recognize how we can utilize that tool.
Yeah. So
And
how
they
many
see it as
TikTok
something
dances do you have?
Grand total is 0.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
get
not a
on that
TikTok.
shit because apparently that'll make your name recognition. You know.
Yeah,
Like
that'll blow me up definitely.
Well, right. I mean, I get it. So how do you do it? I mean, in the time of a pandemic, in a time where it's super important, you know, like this is game changing. Like I don't know if you guys could fully understand the gravity of this, you know, that this is like in my lifetime in this town, the most progressive 3 people running for city council all at the same time. That with, you know, with the current situation may have a chance, like legitimately, you know. And so like I think you need like 5 TikTok dances. I think you need like a good conspiracy theory. I think you need something that just grabs people in a whole new way, because what was it, 11% of 18 to 27-year-olds or some shit voted? Like those are winning numbers if you can bump that shit up, you know?
Yeah.
Real.
So how do we do it? Because like I have a hard time operating 2 things on my Instagram now that the show has one.
I mean, it does kind of fall on the trending aspect. Like TikTok is the way to go to actually reach people. I put out this really, really stupid joke on my TikTok, and it was it I think it was this new episode, like this new series of MacGyver, where this guy he was like explaining some convoluted situation that could like capture this criminal or whatever, and he said he said blah 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 blah, and the woman, it was a black woman, she responded him, and she was like, well wait, blah 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 blah, and MacGyver responded, well, N-word, yes, but, and that's where I cut the video and put on this stupid filter, and I captioned it like mansplaining and white privilege because it sounded like he said N-word, yes, and it got like 650 views. Like it's amazing, and it just people commenting, people just getting riled up, but like it just blew up for no reason.
Oh man, are you drinking tonight, Kendrick? Because I want to get you riled up so that you call me honky, and then we put it on TikTok, and then we get a that'll be that's what I'm striving. I want to see what the reaction would be to having a black dude say that to a white guy, and see what the reaction would be in political office. They just wipe it under the carpet whenever an old white dude does it.
Oh man!
But don't do that, because they'll lynch you legitimately.
Yeah, I wouldn't have many places to go outside of here.
No,
But,
that's. But I'm like, so how do you make policy funny? You know, how do you make serious into views? You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, AOC has this perfect method of just like breaking things out down into recognizable chunks, putting it in plain words, and just like keeping things short and sweet. And that's the way that we make it like palatable. That's the way that we can really get these ideas in people's minds.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that people will just like want to be involved in politics. Like they just like generally shy away from it. They generally just stay.
Well, and people have, some people that I know at least have this idea that politics is this like politics is this thing that happens to other people. And it's a thing that you can choose to take an interest in or choose to not take an interest in. And, like, it's a real privileged position to be in, to be like, I don't care about politics, because it's like, I don't care what happens to people because I got mine,
Right.
and I got mine, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. A disconnect.
yeah, so like I don't know, I really don't know how you reach those kind of people, but I guess, yeah, I mean, how do you penetrate that idea that politics is this thing that happens to other people, and rather than politics is this thing that has an impact on what my life as a young person who doesn't care about politics is going to be like?
I mean, I think it's just really about noticing noticing those like niche things, not necessarily trying to put your vision in their heads, but like seeing them where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and addressing the policy from that point. Like really like honing in on what this particular policy is, why it's affecting people like you, and why you need to be involved to change it. Because unless you get involved to change it, it's not going to change. And
I completely agree. So,
people,
I mean, so Elspeth, you've got the message and the drive and the knowledge and the understanding, but I mean, how do you translate it? How do you, like?
I think Ken's spot on. You have to, people don't think like, oh, my house sucks, it's dangerous, my landlord doesn't fix anything. That's policy. You know what I mean? If you can connect people to, hey, this outlet of yours is sparking, but because you're not involved, or your neighbors or the people who have similar problems aren't involved, nothing's going to change. So you have to connect the thing that's in their life that's affecting them to, hey, this can be affected through these processes and procedures. But you have to like reach out to these people and be like,
Right.
What is it? Is it a lack of a grocery store in your neighborhood? Well, we need your help to get a grocery store in your neighborhood. It can't just magically appear because we all need it.
John Lyons doing stat work in the 2019 primaries. It looks like 3,000 votes is the number you need to reach city council to land a spot, which means progressive candidates came up about 500 to 1,000 votes shy. So how do you convince 1,000 more young people to turn out? And I mean, for sure, like this is a nationwide problem, but
Yeah.
here it's so significant, and there are so many young people whose lives could absolutely fucking change.
Well, and right now there's, I mean, as Jasmine, you already talked about, there are so fewer built-in opportunities to reach people right now, because normally you would be like, go where the people are going, and go to celebrate. I mean, not for the May primaries,
Right.
but go to Celebrate Erie, go to 8 Great Tuesdays, go to all of these public gatherings and be present at these places where all the people are turning out. All the people should not be going anywhere right now. So how do you get yourself in front of these people who aren't going anywhere?
I personally think that that's when our friends and family and our close relationships come into play. I think that if we make ourselves available through social media and live video feeds and giving opportunity for people to get in touch with us, it's going to make it to where we're more visible than other people right now. Given the pandemic, when people are showing up at people's doorstep for signatures, they're hesitant. They don't really want you there. So we have to think outside the box, and we are trying to get a brand new generation of voters to be involved, and they are mostly on social media platforms. So I think now is the time to highlight the issues that we all see and within our community that we're all opinionating on, but we just don't know where or what to do to fix them. And I think that showing that these policies can be changed and we can all benefit from them if we collectively work together. We just need you to show up every election. We have elections, local elections matter. We have elections every year. So it's like, if we don't have the participation of the community advocating for the things that we need in our community, of course, everything's going to go down the shit. Why do we think our city is literally falling apart? Why do we think that we have to balance our budget every year by borrowing money? Why do we think that our current representatives continue to make bad decisions? Because they've never had anybody check them.
No,
We need to check them.
for sure. And I'll say it until I'm blue in the face every week on the show because I love it. But the Bayfront Highway is a fucking like farce, a gentrification tool that, costs people their livelihoods and their homes and does nothing for us as a community. The convention center did nothing for us as a community. All of these tax breaks to the hotels down there do nothing for us as a community. And allowing Erie Insurance, UPMC, Lecom, Gannon, like Penn State, all of these places to just scarf up land and then gentrify those neighborhoods. Like even 15 years ago, we used to joke about the Gannon ghetto, and all of the houses that were around Gannon where the students lived were just pieces of shit. Because I lived there, holes in the walls and the floors, and it was like $500 a month to heat, like just ridiculous shit. And now those aren't even student housing anymore. They were residential. Yeah. And then Gannon buys the house next to it and drops $10,000 into each room, and fucking then everyone else's taxes go up because they're tax exempt. So there's all of your things. Like there's all these bad decisions that never got called to cost because you can't tear down a highway. But at the same time, like it's there. Those hotels are there. Like Erie Insurance is there. Gannon is not going anywhere. Like yes, you get 4 votes, but how fast does that shit die on the floor when it gets to, really happening?
I think that the biggest problem is that our leadership is looking backwards, trying to get back to a point where we were like when Erie was thriving or manufacturing was booming and we had all this industry and growth because of one thing. But
I'll check you right there for a second, so collect your thoughts. But I was just down at the peninsula the other day because I needed to walk around and get the sunshine. But right at that Perry Monument, there's all over the park, but at Perry Monument, there's one of those historical like little things with the pictures and stuff. And it says in 1919, Erie had the world's largest pipe organ manufacturer and made the most of this and this and this and this. Like had the world's biggest opera house. Like all this shit was happening 100 years ago and just died slowly and has just collapsed. And so, yes, there is this feasible time where things happened here and now they're not. So yes, please continue.
It's gone. We have to accept that this economy is going to change, and it's changing, and if we have to be a force in that change. We're not going to just backpedal and try to become what we were at one point. Erie is never going to be that. Erie has to see itself as rising from those ashes, from the relocation out of the city to the suburbs, and we have to see that this is going to be a new economy. We're going to need different ideas to actually support our city and give us reason and the ability to move forward. We have our historical society, and it's good to preserve Erie's history. And I mean, I've heard from a million people this kind of penchant for destroying Erie's history for new development. And I feel like our leadership is hanging their heads because of that. And it's kind of it's holding us back from moving forward. It's holding us back from thinking about transforming our economy into something that will be better because we haven't had that. We haven't had the growth. We've
Mm-hmm.
been at the bottom of the barrel for the longest time since I was a kid, since my dad was a kid. And there's no moving forward. There's no getting back to greatness without recognizing that we're changing and things are going to change. And if we don't, then we're going to stay exactly where we are while everything else grows around us.
Well, that ties nicely into the EDDC because they love getting historical places that they can do stuff with and really like non-progressive things because just a show of hands, because then I've got another comment, but how many think that food stalls are going to save downtown? Okay, that's what I thought. So, but just knowing how easy it was for, and I mean, just like for Persinger to lose as mayor, but then jump into the EDDC and be able to get more shit done. Like, what's Schember's record show? Nothing. Just glad handing and smiles and waves. Like, there's nothing there. But Persinger's getting shit done, and it's moving fast, and it's going to cripple our city for years to come. Like, how do you fight the EDDC at this point? Because the wheels are in motion.
That that really does tie into like the way that I see city council's role, and I see city council as uh, it's a check against executive decisions. It's city council is a representative legislative body for the city of Erie, and in order for us to like actually serve our city instead of giving money to people for investments, we have to recognize that we have to check and review and scrutinize those investments so that they are giving like actual thought and compassion towards the city, not just towards the idea of this place being first class when we're a third class city. You know,
For sure. Like I'd take business class at this point. Like this is
Yeah.
not,
we
you
have
know.
to recognize who we are and where we are as a community, as a city, before we can like toss around the idea of making 6-block radius first class.
Mm.
Right. Well, Michael, you talked earlier about like, oh, we got these plaques that say in 1919 Erie was the biggest this and had the greatest that, and I got to thinking about Pittsburgh, and what Pittsburgh went through in the 90s and into the 2000s, which was, you know, I guess the time I was living there, but Pittsburgh managed to not get stuck in this notion that the future needed to look like the past, and that the future was going to be, we're going to bring the steel mills back. We're going to start burning all the coal again. We're going to do this and that. But, you know, that they could transform their economy as a city into, you know, we're going to go from being heavy industry, heavy manufacturing to we're going to be tech and healthcare. And I guess I'm asking you guys, and Jasmine Flores in the comments, whoever she is, has already said it's not tourism because that's clearly not working. You know, if we're going to move from paper and locomotives and whatever else we're not making anymore to something, is there something that you guys have in mind as what that thing could or should be? And don't
Please say Great Lakes Shipping Revival.
and don't say insurance.
Well, personally, I think that with climate change being as apparent as it is, that Erie and Pennsylvania as a whole has an opportunity for us to be the leaders in the Green New Deal. I know that some of my friends, they advocate for solar power. I think that we are very windy. We have a lot of wind in our area, so even wind energy, I think we need to clean and preserve our lake, because when things get serious in other areas, people are going to come to fresh water. I think that having young progressives talking about these jobs that are going to be family sustainable wages, transfer, like training people to be able to do these jobs. This is a new way for Erie to thrive. And if we're not having these conversations because our current representatives are beholden to fossil fuel and gas, donations, it's kind of hard, where they won't even comment on a subject, or they'll listen to you, but they won't actually do anything about it because it might sway their voters when it comes time. So I'm a big advocate for Green New Deal. I think that in order for us to be sustainable, we do need to transition to solar power. We do need to transition to wind power. I'm a big supporter of AOC and Bernie Sanders' Green New Deal initiative. So I think that if we could implement that here, it would literally make us thrive. I think the pandemic has showed that the hospitality, the fast food, the tourism is not sustainable. It never was. We have 4, maybe 5 good months of tourism worthy weather, and just there's nothing here really for people to do besides drink and eat. So why would you want to come here with your family? I think that even the people here, we want more things for us to be able to do, and they won't even listen to us. I think an aquarium, I think something beneficial would be good for people to want to come to our community, but they don't even have that. They have food, which, yeah, chains are everywhere. We have hotels, which are not even affordable to the residents who are here. So it's just like we have these things that have been shoved down our throat, and this last year of pandemic has literally showed, oh, it's not sustainable. It really wasn't even then. But now that we're going to have grant money hitting the concrete, we're going to have all these developers who really don't give 2 shits about our community with their hands out, like Nick Scott. Like, I just can't wait till we start hearing how we have to help him bail out and make some type of investment in his companies, because this pandemic has been devastating after he done cut all his insurance for all his employees and laid off a bunch of people. Like, don't forget the things that this man has done. Like, don't sit here and tell us, oh, he's great because he gives jobs to our community. What kind of jobs? They're low wage, minimum wage jobs. They're not worth coming here. If we didn't give all of this opportunity to these crappy job developers, maybe, just maybe, Erie wouldn't be in the situation that we're in currently. But you don't even want to have a conversation about new opportunities because you guys are set in your old ways. And that's what it is. Your mindset is in one way. You've never really had to struggle. You're the generation of the boomers who had everything handed to you on a silver platter. And yet you tell us that we're the entitled ones. You tell us that we're not working hard enough. You tell us to work harder and go to college and just keep trying and trying and trying. But as we can see, when a pandemic hits, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are not the 1% or have family to help you sustain yourself with a good 40-hour family sustainable job, you're screwed. So that means that you're one of us. You're a nobody. And us nobodies need to get together and become a somebody. Because right now, we're all getting pissed on. And I'm tired of getting pissed on.
Some people are into that. I just want to know that, like, I say it all the time, but if an Applebee's does burn down, it's because Nick Scott was getting the insurance money and not because I did it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want you to know that.
Yep.
And also, Elspeth and I are just going to push each other to chain smoke all night because that's how we do.
Thanks for triggering me, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
No, but I think the community college is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of people, and I do hope that, like, once they get up and running and have more offerings as far as curriculum, that a lot of it will be things that are tied to Green New Deal and sustainable, energy and all that business. And I think we really need to be doing a lot more encouraging of the young people to go into the trades and not go to the Gannons and the Penn States and the Edinburghs, because until something changes with the way student loans go. You know, that's just a nail in your coffin.
Yeah, and not just that to that point, but I think if another thing that the pandemic has shown us is that there is no such thing as unskilled labor, and there is no such thing as small jobs. You know, like, I mean, I can't get over just like working retail, especially in a kind of grocery environment, to just, you know, be necessary for the continuation of society, to be absolutely necessary and get nothing. You get nothing from the unions, get nothing from, you know, I've been talking about this, like Kroger is closing some of their markets in low income places in California. They're a big grocery store chain in California. And they're closing some of them because California passed a $5 an hour hazard pay for all grocery store workers. So rather than pay their workers after they have made record profits, and their CEO made like 21 million last year.
And they got money for PPD.
Yeah, all of it. And they're closing their stores rather than paying people. But I mean, like the trades, especially around here, just the IT infrastructure of, you know, being able to wire this entire county, and then just to maintain that, like those kinds of trade jobs would, you know, forget a 40-hour work week. I want to get to the point where it's 32 and everyone can live happy and have a 3-day fucking
And we
weekend,
get a vacation.
you know? Yeah, right? Like all those socialist European countries that are doing so terribly.
Maternity leave would be nice. Sick time would be awesome. Like, come on, other countries do it. Like, let's take a playbook. Let's learn a lesson. Like, if other people have a map to success, why are we sitting here acting like we don't know how to do it? Obviously, I want healthcare for all and college opportunities for our young people. Can we move on to say that the minimum wage should be at $24 an hour because of inflation? We can't even have that conversation. Like, people are like, they shouldn't make that money. No, they should make that money. You should be making like 10 times more than what you are. So maybe you need to start speaking about, hey, boss, I need a raise too, because it's $15 for the last 4 years. Should be at 20, 25.
Yeah. Well, sure. And you just look at the CEO ratio to, you know, to the average worker, and it was like at 20-1 in the fort, you know, and then you look at it now and it's like 1,000 times, you know, 3,000 times what the average worker makes. I mean, like Bezos alone is just, you know, like it's ridiculous what we're doing.
We've talked, you and I, Michael, have talked in the last couple of weeks, especially about unions and the death of unions, and especially public sector unions. And that's a thing that unions get you, that the death of unions has kind of put a nail in, is, you know, I'm in my union. We get yearly cost of living increases. We get get that bump every year that, you know, if you're working for Nick Scott and he hires you at $7.25 an hour, next year it's still going to be $7.25 an hour, and it's going to be $7.25 an hour until he's literally forced to make it something else. And you know, that's
like, or you do get a raise, but it's like 10 cents or 15 cents, and it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why did you even bother doing that? Or yet you get the companies who won't do your reevaluations or yearly evaluations, because then they would have to give you a raise. So it's just like they get around all this stuff to pretty much screw the worker, and yet they give us this attitude like we should be grateful that they're here.
Right.
And it's like, no, I don't think we should be grateful that you're here. You're getting tax funds or tax breaks to be able to be here, and yet you pay us these crappy wages and don't offer us any type of insurance or benefits. Or you pay us a little bit more than the minimum wage, like maybe $9, and then you have us feel like we should be grateful to you because it's not the pennies that it should be. Like, come on now, at $9 an hour, 40 hours a week, you can't even afford rent. Have you guys actually looked at the rent prices that have continued to go up over the last 2 years? Like, people want $700-800 for a 2-bedroom. And they're not even including water and sewage any longer.
Well, and let alone the idea of trying to move outside the city limits, because, you know, the city has the issues that the city has, between issues with school district and, you know, the other problems that the city has. So, you know, unfortunately, because we're talking about the city, you know, it has become more and more desirable to not live in the city. So, you know, I live in the city, Michael, you live in the city, but to be able to live in an equivalent place to where we're living anywhere outside the city, whether that's Mill Creek, whether that's Fairview, whether that's Harbor Creek, Lawrence Park, anywhere, like my cost of living would literally double to live outside the city.
Yep.
And that's, you know, unfortunately, I feel like that's kind of a negative referendum on the city. That's like, the city is where people don't want to be, so that's where it's going to be affordable to live. So I don't know. What do we do about that?
Well, one of the things I've been working on for months now is the issue of preemption. And gosh, it was probably the 80s, I think, when the laws changed. And so now, because of the Pennsylvania Constitution, we're not allowed to set our own laws when it comes to setting a wage, when it comes to like not allowing guns in Perry Square. You know, like we don't have the local control that we should have. So like we can't say, teachers, you need to live in the city if you're going to work in the city. Firefighters, same thing for you. Police officers, you want to make those big bucks, keep them in the city. We don't have that control anymore. But there's got to be ways, and we're working on ending wage preemption. But I think we need to work on ending preemption across the board, because we've lost so much local control that we, you know, like there's that white flight, and there's everybody moving to the suburbs because the schools are better. If we could have incentive to have people living in the city, buying homes in the city, boosting the property tax base so our schools get more money, then, you know, but we've lost that control. So we don't have that, you know, the mandates that say, hey, keep your money in the city, buy a house in the city. And there's, you know, a lot of people, like none of us, the three of us on this lake own our own house, you know, because it's just nearly impossible anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, does that resonate with the people that you've talked to that are potential voters? I mean, can they see it? Can they look you in the eyes and say, fuck, finally? Like, I mean, it's not like looking in Mike Kelly's eyes and you get lost in that black abyss of used car shenanigans. Like, I mean,
and all of a sudden you bought the optional undercoating.
Oh man, that dude's made of undercoating. Fuck, I hate that guy. Man, I hate that guy so. I fucking like, fuck you, Mike Kelly. Anyway, like he's the smarmy representation of everything that is wrong and just is there and has done fucking nothing. It drives me mad. But anyway, fuck you, Mike Kelly. But do you? I want to put this gently, but can you use that? Is that a manipulative fact that you can use that? I mean, I guess it's not manipulation when you're saying I'm trying to make things better for all of us. But I mean, is that a key factor you can use? And like, look at me, like I am you, you know, like my rent's late and I've got 3 good tires and like,
Like, I know that from previous experience from my 2019 response, like people want to see regular people from their neighborhood running and representing them, advocating for these issues. Like my response the second time has been immense, and I've appreciated all the support and like people reaching out, wanting to help with my campaign, and just the things that people want to help you do once they see that you're serious about the things that you're talking. Like when I was done in 2019, I didn't just go away. I continued speaking on these issues. I continued advocating for my community. I didn't win, but I still won. My community knew who I was, and they knew that I was going to show up whether I had a title or not. And I think that has definitely carried over within this new election. And then I think that with ELSPETH being the community organizer, she's been with ECU for the last, 4 years, that has definitely carried over. And I think that people see us working together, and it definitely shows a united front, along with, Ken might not have as much name recognition, but the fact that he's putting himself out there.
Tate.
well, yeah, like he's a Tate. But I mean, as far as being, in the community, them seeing him physically showing up and showing out for them, like this last year of the Black Lives Matter movement and the protests that were occurring, I think a lot of the younger people started seeing and energizing and wanting to be more involved. And that has definitely transitioned into this campaign, because they're the same people who were out there marching and kneeling, and they're excited to see progressive candidates, and they're very supportive as far as liking and sharing. So yeah, maybe we should do a few TikTok videos. I did make myself a TikTok. I don't know how to use it, but Flores for Erie will get you to my TikTok.
I've got
but I
I got an
definitely
empty
think that
TikTok
little
too.
Yeah.
I think little 30-second videos like, hey, in the state of PA, we have closed primaries, which means you have to register as a Democrat or a Republican in order to be able to participate in the May primary. That could be one. And then, in the state of Pennsylvania, previously convicted felons have the opportunity to cast the ballot once you're, able to register to vote. So that's something that you should know. So I just think that little things like that will definitely set us apart from the status quo, because we can't gather at the clubs. We can't smooze with the good old boys. We can't, shake hands and make backdoor deals, because the pandemic is literally making our community not want people in their space. And we have to respect that 6 feet that people want. And I just think,
I just know that when things are right, that I want to be in the room filming the TikTok when Elspeth's rubbing elbows with the old guard. That's where I want to be. A couple of quick things. First off, Big Wash, shout out. Are you still going by Big Wash?
Zachariah Sharif, your buddy Zachariah Sharif in the comments, straight fire in the comments. Zachariah Sharif, who we'll be talking to week after next, along with the Erie County United slate of folks for City Council. So it'll be Zachariah Sharif, Lauren Gillespie.
School board.
School board.
Did I say City Council? You guys are City Council. They're school board. Zachary
Man,
Sharif.
if you can't even convince Adam, how are you going to get the non-educated voter?
Zachary Sharif, Dr. Leah Tate, Kendrick, are you guys co-tates or? Okay,
we're co-tates.
You're co-tates.
Co-tates.
That's my sister.
That's your sister. Okay. Dr. Leah Tate, Lauren Gillespie, Depend Tamba, and friend of the program, Zachary Sharif, who's dropping bombs in the comments.
That gets to a lot of things that I'm sorry, were you going somewhere? Were you going to
okay. Watch that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, talking about, Black Lives Matter protests and then everything that came out of that, for good and ill. And then, with the EDDC, and where there were immigrant, people of color, women running downtown businesses that they shut down to say, we need to get people of color running restaurants down here, mostly immigrants and women. And it's what a fucking disconnect. I keep thinking about how, all this money.
Capacity.
Right. How very white of us. Just that all of this money does keep flowing to these same fucking people over and over again in this town. And to think of what Cal Ty could have done with a renovation there, to think about what that block could have been if more immigrant families were able to get in there, to think of what would happen if Federal Hill started getting the tax breaks that the fucking hotels at the Bayfront get. These little projects and these little things about this city that could change it forever are not happening. And I mean, of course you're right. But without the purse strings, without that, what is the cudgel of city council? Because I mean, in my, I have basically been alive to watch the collapse of this empire, to just watch unions getting busted and families getting torn apart and schools decaying, this city has grown so much. And it always astounds me when I drive through and see another suburban cul-de-sac being built. Where are these people and what are they doing? And why is this city still a piece of shit? Where is that money going? And it's going to this fucking bullshit stuff. So, how do you change block by block that isn't this capitalist ideal where it can be here's the city working for its citizens rather than its businesses? because the businesses have never brought any. GE didn't give a fuck about Erie, and we made all kinds of concessions for them. Walmart doesn't give a fuck about Erie or anywhere else, and we make all kinds of concessions for them. And I think Nick Scott cares about Erie, but only so much as that, you know, people know who he is. But like, he doesn't give a lick
Or his
about
slave
anybody.
labor.
Yeah, seriously, it's like he rides around
For the
and
bodies.
his huge yacht looking over his plantation. But what's the cudgel?
I think you got to get a win, because I know it sounds cliche, but you need people power to
Right.
slow down or stop gentrification or the Erie insurance. You know, it's like Little Italy, but it's like Little Erie insurance. You know what I mean? Like, you need a win so people who are disenfranchised now can say, "Oh shit, we got something. The people got something for themselves. Now we have some hope." You know, because right now, you know, it's like pulling teeth to get Raleigh to vote. Oh, I forgot. You know, it's like, dude, come on. You know, they just don't, like, the kids don't care. They're just like, my vote doesn't matter. Nothing ever changes. That's what they see here. You know, they see the same old. And until we can get even a small victory, then there's going to be that lack of hope. If we could get just a tiny little victory and bring some hope, then I think we can bring more people in to say, hey, whoa. No, they don't need that height variance. No, they don't need to take up that green space. No, they don't need this LERTA. Like, make them pay their damn taxes. No, they don't need our taxpayer dollars in the form of RACP funds. You know, do something for us. Until we get a small victory, I don't know.
We need the community to be vocal about what they want, but right now they don't even see the point in being vocal because the players at the table don't care. So it's like, why even try? But like, if we had more people angry, if we had more people outside City Hall, if we had more people showing up and calling, like, this is local elections. This stuff is like, we see these people every day or at least once a week. Like, we can make them sit in their discomfort. They
Shit,
work
half
for
of us are related to Kendrick.
you know. So for me, it's like, you know, a lot of these community members, like right now in my neighborhood, there's this humming noise from the 12th and East Ave business, and we have to wait until the peace is gonna come, and we can't shut down business. But you have people who live, literally residents who pay taxes, work in your community, not able to sleep at night because of this humming that's literally going on constantly. Like, I can't even open my door on the nice day. I had to keep my windows closed because it was driving me insane. I sleep with 2 fans at night because of, you know, the noise that eventually they will fix it when, you know, when it fits their schedule. But that's just the type of disrespect that us residents go through. And if we have it blatant in our face, oh, we were vocal about it, the news covered it, but they told us we have to wait. Well, what the fuck is the point of speaking up?
Speaking of which, the news in Erie is wholly owned by people outside of Erie. So, Kendrick, how many reporters have you had to call you for an interview? Aside from us.
Yeah, we don't count.
Well, no, we're exceptional. I'm not going to lump us in with Erie media.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the goose egg from Kendrick. I'm getting a goose egg from Jasmine. I'm getting a nodding in agreement from ELSPETH.
Yeah, because there's this, oh my God, ELSPETH, it's like we're sitting outside of a bus at a gas station and we just keep smoking.
The comfort of your own home, I tell you.
The comfort of your own undisclosed location. But like it, I mean, we're less than 2 months away from a primary election, and it has gotten, I mean, partially to my own discredit and partially because it's garbage now. I don't really read much local press or watch much local television anymore, but you know, the fact that we are coming up on this primary season, like, it is not getting local mainstream press attention.
I have noticed though that the news did interview Pastor Chuck. There's, you know, obviously a lot of hubbub around Brian Shank.
Who Yeah.
But it
who we
seems to
should
be
talk more about.
mostly like the white dudes who are running that are getting the attention,
Yep.
whether it's good or bad.
Right.
And I
Like,
think
I mean,
we do have a few good reporters left at the Erie Times News, but not
Yeah.
not a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like Kevin Flowers did a little bit of a coverage on us when we announced our slate, and he gave me a little bit of a shout out for my previous run in
Yeah.
2019. Like, you would think that they would want to speak with me, considering I decided to run. If I do, when I win, because I'm going to win this time, I'm going to be the first Latina woman ever elected to city council. So, like, you would think that you would want to speak to the progressive young candidates and not just give the cis male, privileged demographic their time to shine. Like, always, like, we always have the opinion of the white male shoved down our throat, when in all actuality people don't care what they have to say. We literally tune them out. We tolerate them at this point because they're in all of our spaces, but we're trying to take up those spaces. But we can't do that when we have complete media blockout. So, Erie Reader, we would appreciate if you did cover some of the local elections. We know that your coverage is free to the community, and you can still pick those up. So,
as long as it doesn't piss off the casino.
The Erie News won't do any of the coverage, but that's why we have to make our own news. Like, we had an International Women's Day March in Perry Square last Monday, and like the news covered 5 seconds of it, but you would think that you would have at least covered Liz Allen speaking, me or Elspeth speaking. Like, we're running for city council. Like, we're going to be the leaders of women, hopefully to get them to run for office, to take up space and be vocal as well, because we're tired of us only being the crazy nuts and broads in the room. Like, we want other nuts and broads in the room being loud and vocal.
No, Jasmine, I think that's it, though. I mean, use it. Like, get a fucking gif of them saying it, or just, manipulate my voice over theirs and do it over and over again, and be the fucking nuts and broads slate. Like, honestly,
be the button lady.
Yeah.
Like Liz Allen's daughter said, my grandma's the button lady. She pushes the buttons. Well, we're going to push all the buttons. We're going to set up all the nerves. We're going to make sure that you are uncomfortable, because it's been too long that you've been in control, and we've been sitting here catering to you, catering to what you want, catering to how we don't want to hurt your feelings, but yet we're the emotional beings. We're the ones who always have to sit here and jump through every hula hoop possible, on top of being told that we're still not good enough. So
yeah. Backwards and in heels. Yep. All the time. Like, it's Kendrick, you will have an experience I will never understand. Number one, because I will never run for office. Number two, because our life experiences are completely different. So what is it like for you? Existing in this town is terrifying enough, but to run for city council, have you felt pushback, or have you been in a lot of places trying to convince the right people that are, there to embrace you rather than fight against you? Because I don't think you're going to change minds. So I think you got to go after the people that are going to, be on your side already.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, growing up, I've been in spaces where I've felt comfortable.
Like family reunions.
It's the best place to be. Honestly. Best food you'll ever have.
Man, I can't believe I'm getting so much mileage out of a stupid joke. Anyway.
I love
family reunions could be traumatic, because
that's privilege.
But I've honestly I've grown up in places that were comfortable. I really gravitate to people who don't see me as a threat, who don't look at me and want to cross the street. And I do feel like I've been lucky in having that kind of experience. But at the same time, I've experienced the absolute just bare terror of white women who lie and get me arrested. I bear the terror of not getting the recognition I deserve in jobs and being forced to live a life where I'm kind of relegated to 20 hours a week or working temp jobs or being chastised for things that my coworker has been doing for the past 2 years and he lets it slide. I mean, it's a totally different experience for me personally because I grew up in a comfortable place and my family has been able to provide for me for all my life. I've been able to go to college. I've gone to the best high school in the city, and I was able to kind of see like a glimpse of what it might be like to live comfortably. But reality just kind of like drags you back down, and when you're put in certain spaces, you start to recognize like that's I can't be like that. I can't be like him. I can't have those kind of opportunities because they see me differently, you know.
Oh, if you
And
waved a gun in some kid's face, you wouldn't even be on this show. Come on, like,
Disturbing. That's
yeah.
something.
I mean, it's
that's exactly it. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to put my face out there,
Right.
you know.
well. I mean, you bring up a thing that, like, I mean, the other reason I can't run is because I got a bunch of exes too, and like, but I mean, but it's real. Like, and the thing that's been blowing my mind is we just spent 5 years going after one guy with 40 credible assault allegations, and more. There have been credible allegations against the current president. There are allegations and lots of things going on with the governor of New York, like people that were, and people have changed teams and stripes immediately. And they have gone from chastising Trump to defending Biden and Cuomo as they couldn't have done it. And these people are lying. But that's a real thing. And I mean, and I don't mean it's a real thing and like you better be scared, but I mean it's a legit thing that I don't know that there is a white dude in power that at some point in their career did not use that power to try to get laid, or at least to flirt and make someone uncomfortable just for their own gratification. Like, I mean, like,
Well, I mean,
you know,
you and I do that, and the only power we have is this show.
Yeah, no shit. Like, hey, babe, you want to go get felt up by Faye's cookies? Like, I mean, seriously, nobody wants that. But like, I mean, but that's a real thing. Like, Kendrick, you know?
Yeah, no,
like
it totally is. It's completely, it's a matter of, I think personally, it's male privilege. I mean, white males, they have very, they have inroads with each other, and they can navigate those spaces because those people have been in power for so long. But I think that people generally recognize male power as the highest power, and white males just happen to have that extra little
We got double superpowers.
extra little sprinkle.
Like they're
extra
up
little
there.
sprinkle of
They're
power.
the star at the tippy top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Even my shitty existence, I still wield more power than you guys will on city council.
Yeah, as long as you get a to John Cena, you probably will.
Man, look, I loathe all the ideas. I just everything about it, but they get shit done. Like they have a plan and it's being executed. Like I've got, well, that's what I'm saying.
It's so impressive. I do. I honestly, I see that progress, and I can't completely knock their progress because they're doing things. They're developing and they're following the plan that
Big into curling, are you?
Yeah. Oh man. But there are obvious ways that I think city council, like in place of them getting the grace of the mayor, that they can put those checks in place and really make sure that this development is beneficial and it doesn't harm the progress that's coming. It's necessary for these people, it's necessary for companies to have these barriers so that they don't get this wave of power that just seems like unbeatable.
It's like they've won every game for 200 plus years. Like every game goes win capitalism, win white guy. Every single game.
So somebody's got to be the Washington Generals.
Yeah, right. But how progressive can you get in Erie? Legitimately. I mean, because part of me just says, like, empty the chamber, you know, like leave nothing in the clip, just go for everything. And like Erie institutes a universal basic income, and we do it by taxing every cheeseburger at Applebee's. Like, you know, like every time.
Although
Well, after all these
there's
nonprofits that bring in massive
There's no
profit.
Applebee's in the city, so I don't know how the city is going to tax all the burgers that they sell at the Applebee's in Mill Creek.
You're right.
And the Applebee's
Then every plate,
Dollar Tree, Family Dollar.
And now every plate that you touch at Oliver's is a $10 tax.
Those prices, there should be some type of tax going on,
Yeah.
but you know they don't even pay the taxes on the location.
It blows my mind that like Cork, 1201, Skunk and Goat, Oliver, the restaurants at the hotel, like they cater to the same 50 fucking people like 3 times a week, you know,
Yep.
and it's just like that's how they make their ends meet. Like it's unreal, you know. It blows my mind.
Complain that they're not bringing in a profit.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just like everything is wrong in this city. So, but again, like how progressive can you get? Like, you know, can you be like, oh, we're gonna give everybody free money? Like we're gonna charge UPMC to provide healthcare for everyone that lives within the city limits, you know? Or is it gonna be like, well, we're going to renegotiate some CBAs, and we're going to find that this is going to be a really good thing if we just, you know, like how progressive can you get?
There are places, cities right now that are contemplating, you know, I guess you could call it punishing corporations, places that aren't paying a minimum, you know, a better minimum wage, you know, because obviously if you're making poverty wages, you're on the dole. So to get people off the dole, places are considering, you know, we're going to tax your ass because you're not providing your employees with a living wage or health insurance or, you know, paid time off, whatever it is. So, you know,
and you're leaving your employees as a burden on the social systems of the city where you're not paying them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a wild idea that capitalists are gonna freaking hate, but you know, if you got to force their hand some way, you got to do it.
Well, Kendrick, you talked about like, you know, doing this and doing that versus having to go to the mayor, having to answer to the mayor. With the mayor that we've got, and with the mayor that, you know, absent something really strange happening, it appears that we're going to continue to have. Do you guys see yourselves and see what you're trying to do as being a check on the mayor?
Probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely do. I've had this discussion with a few people, and we work in concert with the mayor. He is a part of this governmental body that we have running the city, but at the same time we are fully representative of the community, and the mayor is fully representative of the executive power of the city. So we do have a responsibility to legislate in the way that we are a check on that executive power.
What power?
You know,
that guy. Kendrick, I hope you win just so that there's footage of you trying to dap up the mayor and his limp wrist handshake is just like,
Like like stuck in one,
Yeah.
like can't even.
Yeah, and you're trying to get all kid and play on him, and you just like, oh,
Yeah. So you see, like, the thing that I see is like the most powerful, like progressive kind of rule that we have is like our home rule charter. Like Pennsylvania
Mhm.
has a home rule charter where like a municipality or some locality can create laws based on that locality and for their benefit. But Erie is not one of those cities. I think I literally just looked it up. The only city in Pennsylvania that is a home rule charter city is Philadelphia. And they are they were able to like mitigate the issue of the minimum wage. I think they're the only city who's been able to do that too. Um, like having that charter is like massively beneficial for our direction. Like Erie as a city has the ability to do that kind of work and create that kind of environment where it's actually providing for the people of the city and not necessarily for the people who live outside and work in the city.
speaking of those people, what can you do with the fucking police budget?
I mean, I'm willing to make cuts if we need to, but that's a different
Need to.
conversation. Because a lot of those salaries are a lot higher than a lot of the residents who are paying those salaries. So, I mean, when most of the residents in the city of Erie are making under $15,000 a year, and we got officers making 40 plus, we need to reevaluate some things when our most highest expense for the budget yearly is salaries and pensions.
Although I'm not sure that the solution is, I'm pro defund the police in the abstract and all of that, but I'm not sure that the solution is individually paying cops less. Like, I think having less professional cops and having being a cop be like, because I heard a thing on NPR the other day about, there are all these cities that are now basically paying entry level cops 9, 10, 12 bucks an hour. And the idea that, like, you could be working at McDonald's or for the same money you could be a cop. Like, I feel like deprofessionalizing the police
Is a bad idea.
is a bad idea. Like, maybe not buying them tanks is a good idea. And
Or maybe not sending them on welfare checks is a good idea.
And yeah, maybe
not having them have to be judge, jury, and definitely executioner is a good idea.
Yeah, that last one definitely a bad idea.
I don't know how you reform that system. And yes, take away all their military grade weapons, take away their fucking overtime, hire more cops, but hire more social workers too.
Yeah.
Hire more community outreach, hire more police that not only live in the city, but are representative of the neighborhoods that they go through, which at the same time, like, if you live in those neighborhoods, why the fuck would you want to be a cop? I know white dudes. I know white people that tried to become Mill Creek cops because they wanted to be detectives, because they wanted to, serve justice, and they got pushed out because, they were too smart. They were too on a focus of justice rather than like some machismo power trip or something. But look, I'm not saying it's an easy gig, and I'm not saying it's not necessary, but Jesus Christ, like, it's gone beyond that. There's still shit going on in Portland today that is like just ruined by cops. Like I said at the beginning of the show, like, it's so strange how they just show up right when the violence starts. And that's how it is on everything, And I mean, there are lots of houseless people in this town, and all the centers close early, and there aren't enough of them. And what are you going to do for a welfare check? Call the cops?
Right.
I mean, that's the last, you know, like, are you going to let someone freeze to death sleeping on a bus bench, or are you going to call the cops and then leave it in the hands of fate, you know?
Yeah.
Which, if you've noticed, the bus benches are half the size they used to be, so people aren't sleeping on them. So it's like
Right.
the city won't address the homeless problem that we have because of the low wages that we have, but yet we'll have our public transportation and any public bench half the size so people won't congregate there. Or we'll have the businesses put up fencing so people won't use the little area for shelter against the elements.
Right.
It's like we have all these issues that are affecting community members that if we gave them a freaking chance and showed them like, hey, somebody cares, there's programs, we want to help you be a sustainable community member of our society, that we could be better. Because when we do better together, we are all better. And we just don't have any of that.
We'll tear down the gazebo in our town square and put up a cage instead.
Yeah,
right?
For
People don't sleep
sure.
there.
Well, yeah, but then people can't congregate and fuck around with Occupy Erie,
Yeah,
which
because we can't have
what
that.
Dirty occupier.
what a fucking waste of my time. Anyway, just to
Well, that's
just,
one of my biggest beefs with this town is like places like Gannon and GCAC that are nonprofits. You know, Gannon puts up anti-homeless benches. GCAC, I've seen them in person turn, you know, new mothers away to get help with their rent because they're not working right this second because they have a brand new baby they're holding right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have the people in the higher positions in these nonprofits driving around Mercedes and BMWs while we have, you know, all the problems we have.
Bringing home
Another thing,
yeah.
when it comes to the police, I guarantee you, if I get on city council, that not a single goddamn dime from the community development block grants are going to ever go to the police department.
Oh, you got my vote. I might change my registration to the city. A couple of quick things in the anyway, you know how I roll, Jasmine. Couple of quick things from the comments that I want to talk about real quick is, like, again, Jay Brenneman, Tyler Titus, always on point that yes, not all social workers are good, and that can be part of the oppression if they are just out there to try to solve a problem rather than to find a solution. So yes, granted, gentlemen, but at the same time, like, I don't need cops running around when we could have people that are more trained to deal with a specific situation rather than I got a gun, so let me fix this.
And that their first option is not like, well, I could shoot you.
Yes, and welcome Anna Linva to the show. But yes, being the body cameras, that's a whole other thing where there is oversight on top of oversight for how that goes, because it's always conspicuous when those cameras go out right before somebody dies at the hand of a cop.
Right.
It's just, we better check these manufacturers, see where they're made. We should, get some real Chinese equipment in here so that it works.
Well, to the point of defunding the police, or
Right.
however you want to put it, rearranging their funding. One of my ideas is like a good neighbor initiative. So instead of like when you get pulled over because your tail light's out, instead of getting a fine or getting a ticket and having to appear in court, they just have the shit on them to be like, bro, I got you. Let's fix this so you don't get pulled over again. Things like that. In like social workers, I know the guys are saying they're not all good, but like I still would rather have a social worker show up at a domestic dispute than, a heavily armed,
Right. Yeah, for sure. I would rather have my kids grow up with an absolute like mental issue because, some guy with a fucking pocket protector yelled at them for not being open enough about their feelings than to have them raised without a father because I got shot because a cop showed up because I was having a bad day. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, unreal. I don't know. It's so complicated. Like, there's so much. Like, how do you even focus? Like, because you're mad. I know you're all mad. Elspeth, you wouldn't run if you weren't mad. And I mean, Jasmine, you're just, genetically mad. And, Kendrick, I can tell that you got,
woman.
yeah. The fiery Latina.
I've always been that way. I just didn't know where to direct that anger, Michael. You remember? I was always questioning authority.
Yeah, and yelling at customers. Anyway,
The devil's a lie.
I learned all that background today, by the way, and that just explains everything about everything.
we got history.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
Erie is 1 degree of separation.
Yeah.
We are all Tates.
Yeah.
So small. But that's where we have a benefit. Like Erie is so small, word of mouth is so important. It's like, friends and family can be our biggest supporters and assets, like liking and sharing and getting our names out to them and making sure people know that the primary is May 18th. Like, it's just like Erie is so small that it matters when somebody says, hey, have you checked out this candidate? Hey, have you looked into the slate? Like, have you listened to their platform of protection for renters and equitable development and actual family sustainable wages? Like, we're not talking about livable wages. We're talking family sustainable. Like, you're gonna be able to provide for a family, buy a house, send your kids to a good school in the community that you're helping contribute to the tax base in. Like, it's like, these are all issues that would benefit Erie, but we can't do that without our community saying, hey, we want this too. Hey, the issues that we're talking about aren't just things that we picked out of thin air. They work in other countries.
Yeah, like how much more beneficial would it be to have a grant for somebody from the city, go to a local college, get their teaching degree, and then teach in the fucking city than it would be to have to headhunt all over the place or just find whoever applies to be here.
Well,
that would benefit things way more than another fucking hotel.
Like Erie AmeriCorps.
Yeah.
Right.
Erie Core. There you go.
Erie Core.
Erie Core.
Do it. Make the shirts. We're here for it.
Yeah. There you go. Get Maris. Call Maris.
Get on to Maris.
Erie Core.
Erie Core. That's
Erie Corpse.
Yeah.
It's another corporation and Persinger's running it.
We'll have his portrait on the Erie Core shirt underneath.
Yeah.
That's the shirts for next week. It'll say Erie Core on top, and it'll just have a picture of Persinger on it.
It'll say Erie Core, and it'll have a picture of Persinger, and it'll look like an apple, and it'll be rotten to the core.
Oh. Oh.
There should be like a snake coming out of it, though.
And then it's got all the names of the rich people that sit on all the boards in the community, especially with acorns on them.
I hope he's watching.
Yeah, no, he's asleep. He's cleaning up his dog's vomit,
or at least gets a report back to him about all the shit we talked.
I was watching we had him on the show, which some of you might have seen, several months back. It was like a couple weeks after Jasmine, a couple weeks after the first time you were on the show. So next week, by the way, is our first anniversary spectacular. A year.
I love it when she rolls her R's.
So yeah, a year we've been on this bullshit already, but so yeah, I've been sorting through the shows and making clips, and we're gonna do a highlight clip show next week. So yeah, I got to revisit Persinger's dog puking on him when he was on the show.
Like we're having a serious conversation, and I'm asking like a super pertinent, real question, and all of a sudden he's just like, and then realizes that his dog is getting sick. But it also seemed like, and then there was something else that happened, but it always seemed to come like right as I was like, gotcha, right as like the 60 Minutes camera bust into his house, and he's like, gotta go clean up this dog vomit.
Hi, I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline.
Yeah. Oh man, but I mean, just like, how do you get the money to get good? Like, because that's what it's going to take around here. It's going to be fighting against money with money, or, where do you redirect the money first? Where do you find the money? It's all about money. Money. And you guys don't have any money, so what do you know to do with money?
Ask for it. Ask and beg.
Yeah. Oh, how fucking ridiculous to like have an honest campaign trying to help people, and you got to fucking spend your time begging for money so that you can keep doing it. Yeah.
Making it rain.
I had
Now I got to take this socialist. Oh,
I had $7.
yeah, partial nudity.
I mean, it really just makes it to where you have no shame after a certain point. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm asking 10 people, and until 10 people tell me yes, I'm not going to stop asking. And you come across the people who will donate. You come across people who support everything you're talking about. You come across people who, they can't financially. They're going through some stuff right now, but they are great supporters and they still want to help other ways. So you ask them, hey, like, share, and comment on my stuff so that I'm staying relevant. And then that gives them an opportunity to do something if they're not able to donate money. But the people who are able to donate money, we're really appreciative to that cause, because we understand that money is something that we all want more of, and we barely have enough to just float above water. So just asking people for small donations, $10, $15, $5, a cup of coffee. Like, if you have a breakfast sandwich or you eat lunch, don't eat lunch that day and donate it to a local candidate who could really benefit from that $10 that you would have spent on Subway, but instead you packed leftovers. So it's just like little things that, it shows us that they care enough to see us up there, especially because we are working class candidates trying to run a campaign with no name recognition or no money, because we don't want to owe favors later. Like, I don't want to have to say, oh, such and such gave me $1,000 donation, so now I feel obligated to do something for them later. Or, they come back like, you remember when I donated that money? Well, now I need you to support this project, or I need you to do
like,
this.
too late, I'm elected, bitches. Like, boop. I don't know you. Get out of my office before I call the police.
Because they work for me now.
Because they work for me.
Bribery. Bribing a political public figure.
Well,
But yeah, I mean,
but
that's
I
just what we do.
mean, Erie politics is different. Like, it's different. Like, it's just, I mean, so you can be the most corrupt and illegitimate person, and yet the economy will thrive, like murder go down, like everything will be great. And then you can just be this gridlocked bullshit where you just watch everything collapse around you, but you don't care because you're on public access twice a week pointing your finger. Like, how do you fight it? Like, okay, getting elected. So, Kendrick, what's the first thing you want? What's the first thing that you want? If I gave you everything, if I gave you your seat and the purse strings and home rule and reciprocity and anything else you wanted, like, what's first?
Directing the development funds to East Ave and Parade Street.
Okay, capitalism. Jasmine, what are you doing? Jokes.
I personally, a grocery store is something that I live on East 10th Street. When I grew up, we had, Quality Market, and then Sanders for a little while. But since Sanders has been closed down, we don't have access to a grocery store. And as a person who I did get my driver's license in January of this past year, because I do take public transportation regularly, and it was getting me to and from work. But when the pandemic hit, it just completely limited the availability of the schedule. So that put a fire in me to get my license. But even now, with having a license, it's like there's still lack of opportunity for people to get to food. Like, I used to have to take 2 buses to get to a grocery store. That's insane, because who wants to just shop at Walmart? Like, you spent $100 in 4 grocery bags. Like, we need an Aldi's. We need something affordable, something that's going to be beneficial for us to be in our neighborhood. Considering
we need are good paying jobs in an East Side Wegmans. That's what we need.
I mean, if that was an opportunity, but even Wegmans prices sometimes are not affordable when you have a big portion of the population in this 16501 neighborhood who are EBT recipients. You're getting $187 of EBT SNAP benefits for yourself for the whole month. That goes very quickly when you don't have, healthy, affordable food available to you.
So my my other show I do ends at midnight, and then in the before times I used to roll down the street to 3rd and German to my favorite drinking establishment, And I would oftentimes have to stop at that corner store on 6th and Parade.
Shell's
And
gas station.
yeah, the Shells. And like, if it was the first of the month at 12:01, there was nothing else open there. And there were people there with their children trying to, getting bread and shit. But then also,
Milk.
like, there's, bread and milk, but then there's nothing else. So they're getting, like, Slim Jims and shit because they got to feed their family. And it's, you're going to make Slim Jim and cheese stick fucking sandwiches because that's all that's open and available to you. And it was
Well, you make bricks.
Right.
Which are like from prison, like, the noodles, the Slim Jim, the pepperoni, the chip, all into one little thing, and it's filling, so people make them, and you adapt and overcome from your environment, and they learn that from time served. You know what I mean? How to like my brother will tell me, "Oh, I'm gonna go make me a brick." I'm like, "You haven't been in jail in forever. Why are you eating a brick?" Well, because I know how, and it's filling, and it's gonna make sure I don't get hungry in the middle of the night. Okay, well then that's what you're gonna do. But it's just like you said, they're in the middle of the night, they're at the gas station buying chips and Slim Jims and whatever's available in that freezer section.
Yeah.
But like, even Shells over time has gradually started providing potatoes and fruits and vegetables and things that are able to sustain a family, but the price range is just ballooned. You're paying 3, 4, 5 times more than what you would. Like you can go to Dollar General or Dollar Tree and get a loaf of bread. You go to Koehle for a loaf of bread, it's like $2-3. It's insane.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
$2 banana.
These little businesses that are popping up, like the country fairs and the gas stations and the Rite Aids and the dollar stores, they're profiting off of the EBT that people are paying to be able to eat there. And that's why you have so many of these food swamps readily available in these high EBT recipient areas, because it's like a never ending market. Like, they're like, we're not going to give them healthy options because then that would mean that they're not using our healthcare. So we can't have them healthy because then they're not going to get sick. So we have to provide all this bad food to them so that then they are sick. So then they need medication to then go to the doctor. And it's just like, it's a lot. So yeah, like me personally, grocery store is something that I speak on. I want it needs to happen, and the little band-aid that the EDDC wants to put needs to be very apparent that people are getting $187 of EBT benefits every month, and that needs to feed them all month. So if you're trying to charge $1 or $2 for an apple, like Oasis Market did, it's not going to work. You're not going to get the people who are 4 blocks away who would benefit the most. So, I mean, I'm all for the initiative that that co-op had when they were on East 6th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I guess that, Meds Harbor Home was affiliated, and they had bulk product, and the predominant recipients who went there were mostly Latino and Hispanic, and then they moved, and then that got lost. Can we have a conversation on what you guys did back then? Because that worked. We need to do something like that now. And the Band-Aid of just being accessible to the people who work there and might stop in and take a couple things back to their home a couple miles outside the city isn't going to sustain a business. So it's like, when you close down because the community is not going to go there, I don't want to hear how you need a bailout. I don't want to hear how you want support towards your another business venture, because the community is telling you what they need and what we need to thrive here. If you want this area to be more residential friendly, give it a grocery store. It has a college right there. We have the poorest zip code in the country, the worst place for African American men to live, and we don't have a grocery store. But you're telling me you want to keep young people here. You're telling me you want people to feel like
the right young people
here.
Come on, I mean,
But even so, like, how do you expect people who you're developing all these condos and luxury living, but there's no grocery store?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No. Oh, there will be. I mean, it's part of my thought on the Erie conspiracy theory is like the Arby's condos. Like, those are just a footprint, those are just there to let you know that this is what they're going to do. Like, this is why everything's being gentrified. This is why it's a food desert. This is why we're going to put in these food troughs. This is why we're putting in all of these things, is because eventually you're all not going to be here because you can't afford it. and it's all, Millionaires Row is going to be full of millionaires again. And, everything from like East Ave all the way as far west as they can get.
Why are millionaires going to live in the city?
Oh, well, they're not. They're going to be 100,000-aires. They're going to be middle managers at Erie Insurance.
Well, okay.
That's,
when they push all the poor residents and, the unmentionables out, it's going to be a welcoming environment for them. That's why they're gradually buying up all the spots. Like, that's why it's a green space in certain areas. That's why we have opportunity zones. That's why we give businesses and developers 10 years for them to have to then turn around and pay back what they owe, for them to decide, oh, maybe I don't want to stay here anymore. Right. So here's my debt, and I'm going to leave you with it. And that's something, too, that I feel like we should be able to reevaluate, is the ability for businesses to just up and leave after 10 years. Like, we need to see what we can do as a collective to prevent that from happening for future reference, because there's going to be
particularly if what brought them here in the first place is they got this incentive, they got this break, they got this, that, the city or some, city-backed entity helped them get this opportunity to get into this space, and then they're like, thanks, bye.
Out.
Yep. Nope. I mean, Zachariah just hit it. They shouldn't be getting tax breaks, but yeah, exactly. Because if the market dictates, how the fuck has the market not dictated a fucking grocery store on the Lower East Side? Like, if the market works, then why isn't there someone raking in billions of dollars because they put an affordable grocery store on the Lower East Side? It's not. It's because this is a farcical system. And it's not going to work. So, Jasmine, you're right. I mean, like, the comments section exploded when you started talking about it, because everyone knows, everyone that lives downtown, like, you got to drive out of your way to get someplace to get good stuff.
Yeah.
And, and then you are spending money. And even if you're not spending $2 an apple, you're still spending gas money. You're spending your time, your free time, when you're hustling with your main job and your other job. And then whatever you do to, raise a family or try to do some stupid other shit that people get into, like, instead of just kicking back and smoking and watching a movie, and now you got to go grocery shopping. Like, it's bullshit. It's your day. Elspeth, what's your number one thing? Do you build a guillotine? Because I really want that to be your thing, is like Perry Square.
I don't have any carpentry skills.
Yeah, we can outsource that. Yeah. We know some guys.
You can get the kit from IKEA.
Yeah, I know some Amish dudes that'll do it.
I don't know. I guess, like, one of the first things that I would want to tackle is a more vigorous apartment inspection program. I mean, if you guys are aware of what they do now as far as inspections, it's nothing, and it doesn't keep people safe. So that's probably one of the first things that I would focus on.
Oh, for sure. They recently, and by recently I mean sometime in the past 10 years, because time is a flat circle to me and I'm old and I mean nothing anymore, but like, they redid those apartments on the 5th and 6th Street block of Peach Street. There used to be the Burlingame apartments right on the side of where the EDDC is moving all of their food troughs into. And I know they're food stalls, but I prefer to call them food troughs for all the piggies that are going to eat there. But anyway, like, right on the other side of Catfish Kitchen, there were those apartments there. And back in the late 90s, one of my first apartments was a basement apartment right on the corner of 5th and Peach. And I mean, that used to be an old slaughterhouse, and there were big drains. Like, you would go in through the bedroom closet and it would go back into like the underground tunnels of like Erie. And there were big drains from where the slaughterhouse was, and they would bring all the cattle up in the Great Lakes, and then they would slaughter them there and then send all the beef further on into the Midwest and stuff. But I mean, those places were falling apart, black mold, just odd sounds from the building itself, just all kinds of shit. And that was 20 some years ago. And I mean, they just recently redid all those places, at least on the facade. So I'm assuming they did work on the inside too, because
that's a big assumption.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah,
patched up the wall,
just-
that let the drain be
Yeah.
visible, you know.
Yep.
We know how landlords get down. They don't fix shit. They
Yeah.
just cover
Yeah.
things up, and then we figure out about it when we're 3 months into a lease.
Yeah,
Like,
except
oh, shit,
except
the
now
ceiling's
except
leaking.
now they painted it blue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
but
mess.
I-
But
Well, but I
Right,
mean,
there's
how
protection.
do you fight that? Because there's a couple of places that own a lot of fucking apartments, and they're one of the people that can dine at Oliver's. They're part of this. They're part of this like, we should just call it the Oliver Society of Erie. Like, so there's the Oliver Society of Erie that owns and controls this vast swath of apartments and complexes, and the fact that Rick Griffith puts up all of these pleasant little signs while he has all these empty buildings and people sleep on our streets is kind of a travesty. But anyway, how do you vote against that? Yeah, how do you end capitalism with your vote on Erie City Council, Elspeth?
My hopes aren't that high. No, but I'd rather see those slumlords getting taxed to high heaven and fined than than this parking meter stuff and the booting.
Right.
Like, I've been working from home since last year when this shit started. And it's like a pain in the ass every day, whether it's snowing or whether the street sweepers are coming by or not. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If I don't fucking remember, then it's $35 here, and then if I don't remember to pay it, then it's hundreds of dollars. So I'd rather see money coming in from fined landlords who are operating slums than
Who have
from
money.
citizens who are poor and don't have a driveway.
Well, and we've talked about
Like-
this before on this show. Like, the parking enforcement, the wealthy and the well-to-do people in the city are not the people who have to park their cars on the streets.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the working class people in the city who have to park their cars on the streets and have to deal with, is it every other Wednesday, and where do I have to put my car today? So it's another one of those fees that
Like a poor people tax.
it's a poor people tax, and it's let's fill our hole in the budget with this fee that falls almost exclusively on lower class and
man.
working class people.
When
And then if you notice, the increase to that fee is 12 days after you get the ticket. So it's not even a full 2-week pay period that you're allowing people to have before the fee goes up.
on
So
purpose.
On purpose, so that you can get more money out of people, so that then you have that $35 ticket when, like, I don't know, I just got my license, so I don't know about the fees, but I know that David got a fee from parking outside the barber shop. He's a handicapped vet. They didn't have any parking, so he parked in a spot where he thought it was open, but I guess it wasn't open based off the sign. So he got a ticket. They pretty much increased that ticket until it maxes out at $135. But the first increase happens 12 days after you get it. So it's like they're setting yourself up to have to turn around and pay more money towards this poor people tax and predatory system that is going after the residents who can't afford to pay in these parking garages, who can't afford to continue to run out every 2 hours because their job won't let them to put money inside of the meter. So it's like you're literally making it to where it's a hostile environment for the residents who have to work in that environment, and they don't even feel welcomed as is.
Well, and like the way they raised and it was another like let's patch this hole in the budget thing, but the way they raised the rates on the outstanding parking tickets, which I still have one of, is like there was a post on the city's Facebook. It was not like, we're going to put it out, we're going to put it in all the press. There's going to be a thing on the news about it. It's going to be in the paper. There was a post on the city's Facebook like, we're raising all the outstanding parking tickets from $50 to $135.
Yep. Addison Thomason's in the comments, and the right. And we're going to go in business together. It's Michael and Addison, and we're going to sell junk bonds. based on the amount of money owed by citizens of Erie for their parking tickets, their late fees, like Adam and I. So we're going to bundle those and then sell those to Nick Scott, and then take that money and go on vacation and let the whole thing collapse, and then the city will just raise parking rates again.
Can we just put it? Can we just like put it all into GameStop?
All GameStop stock. Yep. GameStop stock, and then we're going to invest Erie City pensions in it, especially the police pension. Will be invested in the Michael and Addison fund against Erie parking tickets.
Stunk.
It'll be perfect. Just a reminder. There was once in Union City, of all places, there was a socialist mayor. What if it was 110 years ago?
It's everything comes back around once every 110 years. We're due for another socialist mayor of Union City, surely.
Surely, and at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if Union City got a socialist mayor before Erie did.
Probably before we get a woman mayor.
Fuck yeah, I'd vote for a socialist over a woman any day.
That's horrible.
I know.
Check your privilege, Michael.
But I don't, Jasmine. That's the thing. I really don't have to. It's always gonna be there. Like
You're gonna be an ally. We have to point it out.
I'm doing this show. I'm doing all I can. And yes, of course, all of that is bullshit. But at the same time, it goes to the fact that I could. I mean, I seriously could. And it doesn't fucking matter, And I could bundle up I could walk in there with a tie on and be like, I got a proposal to save the city a bunch of money. I'm going to bundle all of these owed things and I'm going to sell them to a bunch of people and get them to invest their public pension trusts and a bunch of teachers' pensions. And then I'm going to sell them. And then I'm going to make a bunch of money for the city.
Oh, he's an old white guy with a tie. I trust him.
I'm an old presenting white guy.
Old presenting. Not
hashtag give white guys a chance.
Yes, save the white guy.
Yeah,
they haven't had a chance forever.
Oh,
we've had a hell of a time.
Doesn't that just drive you nuts that there's like not only the open white nationalism, but that this idea that America is like the homeland for fucking white people? Like, go back to Europe, fucking fascists. Right? Like, what the fuck? Like, it drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just like, wow, this show's just flown by. I love it. You guys are great. We should do this all the time. Like, how do we save the city?
No pressure.
How do the three of you and Liz Allen save the city?
Shout out to
what
Liz
kind
Allen.
Of fucked up B adventures movie is this?
I like this movie, like the buddy road trip adventure movie with these three and Liz Allen. Liz Allen's driving the car.
Dude, where's my car?
Yeah.
And Kendrick's got to ride shotgun because he can't sit in the back. That's privilege to be able to drop jokes like that. Yeah. Black shotgun.
We can't have him driving though. So we have to have Liz Allen driving.
You'd all be dead. You'd all be shot.
Me and ELSPETH in the back seat.
Yeah.
Making sure we're looking out the back window for all the people trying to stagger us, and then Ken in the passenger.
Taking care of the radio.
No, in all seriousness, though, I think that like if we do get elected and younger people see young folks like Ken and Jasmine doing their thing and actually being able to get on there, I think that's where we start to save the city. I don't think that the 3 or 4 of us are going to single-handedly save anything, but yeah.
I think the goal is just to let younger people see that, like, your opinions, the vision that you have actually does matter. We've just been, silenced for so long that we stop even commenting or advocating for things. Like, I feel if Ken and I we're going to get elected because we're going to do the work that we need to do. So when we are elected, we're going to be bringing city council back in age demographic. I'm only 27. I'll be 28 in April. on the 23rd, and Ken is only 26. So we literally just took the gap from 55 where Michael Key is to, and then what?
Well, and
Mel
Michael
and Ed
and
are
Michael
up there at
Keys
74, 75.
Michael Keys still seems like the young hip guy on city council.
If that's what you call that.
And he's
Well,
and he's
Adam's
55.
definition of hip is different than ours, so it's cool.
But I mean, look what we're working with, though.
Right, but
Yeah,
but he's
compared
right.
to the 75-year-old guys, Ed and Mel. So we get elected. We're bringing it back, and we're gonna show people like, hey, we're younger, we're vocal, we're loud. We want you guys to be loud too. We want to hear what you have a vision for Erie. What do you want to see for you to be able to stay here and thrive here? Because ultimately, unless we're all together, focused on the issues, 4 or 5 of us being loud, we're the crazy broads. We're loud. We're the button pushers. But if we don't have 150 other button pushers who can come to an event with us when we want to make people nervous for a certain issue, it's kind of redundant. We're not going to get anywhere. We're going to continue talking in the same circles, continue advocating for the same issues, and nothing gets done like how it has. So it's like, unless the community's ready to literally say, hey, we're tired of all of this, we need to be more vocal, we need to be more opinionated, and we need to have representatives who are willing to fight for us elected in these positions, I think that that's going to change the conversation. But definitely, if Ken and I get elected, we will see more younger people wanting to be involved, because just with our campaign alone, I see more young people being involved than I did in 2019. So it's refreshing to see the engagement. It's refreshing to see more people speaking on the things that they want to see Erie thrive in. But like Elspeth said, it's going to take us actually getting elected. So,
Elspeth, do you feel bad that you got lumped in with me and Michael as the old people?
No, I've accepted my fate.
I'm going to be old too one day.
One day. in 2035.
I got something. One day.
David turns 39 next week, and he's just like, I'm going to be 39. I'm going to be 39. He just said F me over there. He could,
it only gets better.
Yeah.
It only gets better. Like I'm living my best year at 44, even with a pandemic. Like, I am happier and more in tune with myself. And I mean, I'm also an old white dude at this point. So
you got that going.
Everything's coalesced. Yeah. But no, I've got all the perspective, like all of my haphazard fucking living, like the reasons I can't run for office. Like, that's wisdom now. Like, I know. Like, I'm not bagging 26-year-olds at 3:00 at the Rook anymore. Like, I've got plans. Like, I know what I'm doing now until the bars reopen. But now I know.
Then all bets are off.
And then
that's why you're not running for office.
It's exactly. Just take away from my fun.
Yeah.
Got plans for later when the world gets back on track.
No, but I mean, like, I truly do think that it's like it's hard to find a passion to move young people. Like, I'm outlier, like Adam's outlier, Elspeth's outlier, because we just knew things young about, like, I've voted in every presidential election, at least, that I've been eligible for. Like, I've been on top of things, but at the same time, like, until, the last probably 4 or 5 years, like, it never clicked with me in the right way of the importance of local elections, like how beneficial it would have been to not have a bunch of old white dudes fucking, working shit out. Like, it is some, like, I can take pride in the fact that I am old and it is now acquired wisdom rather than just some childish game I am running after. But at the same time, like, there needs to be some kind of conviction that you bestow upon the voters that you need. There were numbers rolling across the screen earlier. We got like 30 stat dudes and Abdullah Washington, the Michael Keys apologist. Anyway, but there's stat dudes.
What's up?
Cold as ice.
I got nothing but love for
I mean,
Ross.
I just rolled my eyes at the comment. So
That's cool.
it
I
was
got
what
you.
it was.
I got you, Jasmine. I can say things you can't. But I mean, there's like 4,000, Gen Z voters. There's 20,000 Gen X voters. There's a bunch of boomers that are, left leaning. Like, how do you convince those gaps to say, you know what, now's the time? Like, the iron's hot. Like, after a summer of protests, like after, just the pandemic and seeing that no one's coming to help us kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I think you got to go as progressive as you can.
Right.
Just
we have to help ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you being representative, you people, but you guys, representative of a community in a time where, like, shit, Jasmine, Kendrick, like, you guys are locked into a generation of people where, like, I'll be dead, but you'll be watching your children and grandchildren get fucked over by climate change and by, like, the capitalist grist mill that continues. Like, all of these failing things that are just becoming apparent right this second. I'm still talking, Adam. Like, I've been vamping while you were gone, so just to keep you going.
No, I turned the volume up. I heard you.
Yeah. But like, the conviction of finding a way to get people to turn out could change it, because it's 1,000 votes. There's going to be the people that'll vote blue and the people that'll vote red, and then there's people that aren't going to vote. And if you can get the people that don't vote, then
and
you win.
That's the ones that'll turn it if you can get them.
If Adam, do you have any other questions?
No.
I mean, we've just a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
No, I got nothing else. You guys have any
parting
remarks?
Let's do this real quick. Kendrick Tate, where can people find you, donate to you, give to you, understand you, learn about you, learn your TikTok dances?
Yeah. Check me out on my Facebook campaign page, facebook.com/Ken Tate Erie. And my donation link as the button on my page. So you can click that button, go to my donation link, and you can donate whatever you can at the moment. 10, 15, 25 if you're feeling good, 50 if you're feeling real good. Help us really.
Pop Joe is giving us our stimmy money soon, so just put a little bit away.
You will be, like, instrumental in getting us to the point where we can actually make our voices heard, make the community voices heard, and put us in a place where we can actually make things happen, not just say we can make things happen.
Jasmine, where can we find you?
Right now I have a Facebook, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I do have a TikTok, and it's all, if you type in whatever platform it is /Flores for Erie, you will find me. I'm linked to Flores for Erie on all platforms. I have opportunity to donate, linked, as well as I've been making personal asks, reaching out to people specifically and asking them to donate to my campaign. But as Ken said, anything will help. This is grassroots, 100% community driven, and family oriented, and just multiracial issues that will definitely change and transform our community for everybody. Protection for renters, that's a issue for everybody. Equitable development, that's something for everyone. And then the family sustainable jobs is something that everyone can literally understand the benefit of having those. So this is my second time running for city council. 187 votes is not going to keep me off of the ballot this next time. So we're going to do the work that we need to do, because 187 people is not a lot, especially when I had 222 petition signatures. So we're just going to do the work. We're going to try to be as visible as we can, given the climate of the pandemic, and just try to be as precautious as possible when we do interact with our community members, because we don't want to be the reason why somebody gets sick, especially if they financially can't afford to take the time off for a 2-week quarantine. So That's something that we always have to be aware of. We don't have sick time. And when people are sick, they do go to work and they potentially risk everybody else getting sick. And that's how we have the problems that we have today.
Elspeth, where can people find you? The site oldwhitewoman.com.
Yeah, on Yahoo, MySpace.
GeoCities.
Yeah, GeoCities. Check it out. Yeah, I send you a free AOL disc, and then you can send me your donation through.
It's all by mail.
Checks only.
Yeah, checks.
No, Kaylee for City Council on Facebook. And of course, there's a donate button there at the top, too.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Fantastic.
$7. You can split it amongst the three of you.
Oh, thank you, Adam.
But we do have a Slate donation link if that's something that you want to do, is donate as a whole to just the three of us instead of individually. They have that as an option as well.
Erie Can't
as
Wait,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
Erie Can't Wait
the
Slate.
Erie Can't Wait page is linked in the video description, so go down there and y'all can find that. Whatever platform you're watching this on, that Erie Can't Wait page is linked in the video description. So go down there, scroll down, do the thing, and that's down there. So check that out, and you can help all three of these guys out.
I'm going to throw a bunch of change in the street and watch you fight over it.
Be like a parade.
It's cold as ice.
Elspeth Koehle, JASMINE, Flores, KENDRICK, Tate, thank you so much for being with us tonight. That was phenomenal. I wish you nothing but success. And maybe I'll register in the city before May, and then I'll vote for you because I can,
Right.
with my privilege. But that was phenomenal. Check out Erie County United. They've got their websites and their Facebooks and their bona fides all over the place, so you can check that out. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back with the slate of progressive school board candidates. But that was phenomenal, guys. I really appreciate it. Like, I really, 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 really hope you win. And if you need to come back after May, you're welcome back individually or all together, because I could fill 3 hours with you anytime. That was really, yeah, that was really phenomenal. I've like, for being a 44-year-old dude with a bad prostate, I haven't taken one bathroom break. What about you, Adam? What are you at, 4?
I'm at 0, but I definitely have to go.
And check that privilege out. No, that was super phenomenal, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming with us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank
Most
you.
Thank you
definitely.
for having us, giving us a platform.
No, yeah. See if the Times does that. Where you at, Erie Reader?
Holler at us.
Right? We need to be our own news, obviously. But you
Yeah.
guys have a good rest of your night.
All right, you too.
Take it easy.
Michael, should we
We'll
put a
keep-
record on for a second?
Yeah,
Then
we'll
come
put
back
the
and say
record on
goodnight
for
to
a
the
second,
people.
and then we'll do this.
All right.
We'll keep you
Maris,
posted on the ballot.
Maris, I love you. I got jokes.
Jokes.
So. Social distancing variety hour.
Variety hour. Turning the record off.
Good job. Yeah. What record was that?
That was Dead Horse, great Erie band Dead Horse. Their EP Crescendo from 2017. Super fancy holographic 10-inch lathe cut vinyl thing. I think,
Oh my God! Do you have to think about that every time you come?
no.
Super holographic 10-inch lathe cut vinyl. Not specifically that album, but I mean just in general.
Just in general, yeah, kind of. But thank you to our friends. Thank you to our
from the Made by Maris collection. They'll be up and available on the Social Distancing Variety Hour Instagram soon. $12 American will get you any of the show shirts that you've seen Adam and I wear.
Yeah. You can even like if you wear our size and you ask nicely, you might even be able to get the game used.
Oh yeah, if you want a game worn one, like get into the comments. S_D_V_H_.
Yep. Social
Distancing Variety Hour on the just on the Instagram though is the way to do that. Or actually
Twitter,
just
Twitter
get
is the same.
to
Just
us.
get
Yeah,
at us.
just DM, get in our DMs, slide right in there, and we'll get you.
Also, if you go on the Patreon, which is down on that corner of your screen, down below Michael, at the I think it's the $5 a month level, we'll send you a Made by Maris collection shirt after a couple months of support at that $5 a month level. One of the many, many, many tangible and intangible benefits that are available to you by being one of our Patreons on our Patreon. Thank you to our friends for being with us tonight. Got into some good stuff there. Next week,
it's a year.
It's a year that we've been here in our basements and our undisclosed locations, doing this thing that we've been doing, that we figured we'd be doing for
couple weeks,
two maybe 4 weeks tops, and then
I mean like Yeshua was our first guest. That's how we were like let's hit it off with a bang and then go down from there, and then we'll be done and back to life as normal, and it's not.
Nope, still not.
And I don't want it to go back to the way it was.
No,
and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah. But we're getting some. I said I'd never do another clip show, but I did another clip show.
But here we are.
We thought it would be funny to be like, oh, it's our 21st birthday. Let's make it a party. Let's have a clip show, because we're never going to get to her real birthday. But
then suddenly
it's we're a year into this, and here we are. So we're going to do another one. We're going to revisit all our guests from the last 6 months or so of the show since we did the last clip show. So there'll be clip show 1 and clip show 2 to give you basically. So if you haven't been watching, then just hold out, because then you'll be able to watch all of us within like a 6-hour span. Yeah,
hours.
We'll put it out as a DVD box set.
Like 100 hours.
Oh, we're way past 100 hours. Yeah, it was.
That's right. 100 hours was 3 weeks ago.
It was on
4 weeks ago.
It was on the 40th. I think the 40th show we hit 100 hours, and this is 46 now. So we're up to 115 hours or something of shows that we've done over the last year. So thank you for wasting 115 hours of your lives with us. Come hang out with us
and then a
week.
Special shout out to all those people that are doing Oppo research for other politicians in the county and the state that had to tune in and fucking watch us in case we said something about their candidate or about their opponent. Yep. Thank you for watching. You're the people that I love the most.
Yeah.
Those fucking disregarded politicos that want to turn into something but it'll never be nothing. Like, this is for you.
Slide into our DMs. We'll talk to your guy too. We'll tell him.
Please.
We'll tell him how much we think he sucks.
Yes.
Yes. We'll see you. We'll see you next week, and we'll have a party, and then we'll be back the week after that to talk to our friends who are running not for city council. I said
school
that
board.
earlier.
That was tonight.
Yeah.
Good callback.
Thanks.
Of mistakes.
Yep. That's what I'm here for, to remember my mistakes.
Become a socialist.
Yep. Be like Arthur F. Young. Be a socialist.
Arthur F. Young. And then after you are a socialist, then you can open up a family furniture company that's just takes money from people in your town.
Yeah.
That's a true American
that's the
story.
Socialist dream right there. Is to
You run your city under socialism and run your personal business under capitalism, and never the twain shall meet.
Exchange money for goods and services. That's the socialist dream right there.
I got your goods and services right here,
ladies.
Or gentlemen, or gentle friends. Dr. Tyler Titus was so apropos of reminding me that gentle friends is a much better term. So, gentle friends, thank you for being with us tonight. That was awesome. Like 2 weeks in a row, 2 good shows. I mean, all our shows have had their
46 good shows. Michael.
46 good shows. Well, 44 good shows.
There was that one.
There were 2.
And that other one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we'll see some stuff from those too next week. So come hang out with us. Come hang out with us. We'll have a party and drink some wine and watch Michael and myself make a fool out of ourselves repeatedly. It'll be great. We love you guys. Take care of yourselves.
Big Wash, you're the best, and I respect you as a human being and as a black man. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Be kind to the people that take care of you. And take care of the people that you're kind to. Social Distancing Variety Hour.